Wake up, it's Chris in the morning light. On KAHI, your day starts right. Foothill news and a smile or two, with a dad joke fresh and the weather too. He's the voice of the hills, keeping it real. Local talk with hometown feel. So grab your coffee.
Oh, let's make it a double. Whatever that means for coffee.
It's Chris in the morning with your daily news.
Big Finish and good Tuesday morning to you. It is September 30th, and it is right smack dab at the top of the hour. It is 6 a.m. here at FM 104.5, AM 950 KAHI. You know what it is. It is the voice of the foothills, Chris Quant, back here in the seat, holding it down. A beautiful, gorgeous, fantastic, spacious, and yes, still air-conditioned Studio A, KAHI Studios. I don't know how long that air conditioning is going to last. If the temperatures keep like this, I'm okay with that. Peering through the Venetian blinds well, it's wet out there, gang. So if you're heading out today and probably the next couple of days, you might want to grab an umbrella as you head outside here. It's cloudy. We'll check in with meteorologist Tim Root here in just a little bit to find out what the official weather forecast is. As LeVar Burton would say, don't take my word for it. We'll go to the expert here in just a little bit, but as you're getting started on this Tuesday morning, it's early, gang. So if you're just getting started now, well, rub the sleep out of your eyes and wake up. And actually heard something really interesting. If you're looking to get motivated, I was listening to an interview with, I think her name is Mel Robbins. And actually, to be honest with you, I don't know everything about her. I think she's got a pretty big podcast. And she's she gave a really big TED Talk back in the day, like one of the original TED Talks before TED Talks were really a big thing. And she basically said, she's like, I was in my 40s, and I'm probably doing a horrible job summarizing this, but she said, I was in my 40s. We were in a massive amount of debt. Her and her husband had gone into the restaurant industry, had basically mortgaged their house and everything they owned. And then 2008 hit. We all know what happened in 2008. And they found themselves wildly in debt. And she said, I was facing depression. I was having a hard time getting out of bed. I had, children, small children, and life still goes on. I don't know if you know, but even when tragedy strikes in life, apparently you can't just hit some sort of timeout button and put the world on pause. Somehow you've got to figure out how to keep going on. And she said, she's like, what I would do is I figured I've got to turn something around. I've got to do something here. And the secret that she shared is what she would do. Now, this is one of the things that she would do. I'm sure there were other things that as well, but this is this is as far as I've gotten in the interview. I haven't finished hearing the whole interview yet. She said I would count down. So it just even getting out of bed, it was hard to get out of bed in the morning. And she said what I would do is I would count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that was your time, like, okay, when I hit 1, that's when I'm going to do the thing. Because we always get stuck in the idea of doing something. I don't know. If I'm pointing a finger, I've got 3 fingers pointing back at me, because this is true for me. Of getting stuck with like, hey, I should do this. I know I should do this. This would be an idea to do this. And we have the idea and we go through it all in our head, but actually just doing it, just getting down and actually doing it and starting to get something done and starting to make progress on it. That's where there's a big gap between thinking about it and then actually doing it. Like, yeah, tomorrow I'm going to go on that diet. I'm going to start losing weight, and I'm actually going to step on the scale and face those numbers and start doing something about it. And like, yeah, I can think about that. And I do think about that for a long time. But actually doing that's another thing. So she said, what I did is I just started doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there's something about counting down for our brains that basically because we always count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty easy. But counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's going to doing something. And she said, I just started doing that, even just to get up in the morning. I was just count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that was my impetus to get up in the morning and just to start doing things and getting things done from there. I've got this pile of mail that I don't want to open, but I know I got to do it. I got to go through it. I got to adult. I got to live life here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to start reading those letters, opening those letters. And I read another book. I forget the author now. It's called Eat the Frog. You might have heard this expression too, like eat the frog. Like what? Basically, it's if I have to. The idea is like, boy, if I have to eat a frog, I want to do that at the beginning of the day. That way I'm not dreading it and save it until the end of the day, right? Like do that task at the beginning of the day that you maybe are dreading. Make that phone call more so right away. And maybe you count down. I got to make that phone call. All right, I'm going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I had an email. This is a story from my own life. Last night, I had an email that I had to send that I knew I should send. That it just had been on my mind all day, and finally got to it last night. It really was, because you hit send and you're kind of putting yourself out there. And you don't know how the reaction's going to be, and you're kind of nervous, like, hey, I could get an answer back that I don't like, or it shuts the door on an opportunity. But you got to do it instead of just living in this uncertainty and this not knowing. Sometimes ignorance is bliss, but other times, like, I just need to know so I can move on with my life one way or the other. And so I literally did it. I'm like, I am sitting here. I have this composed. I'm rereading it. I'm reading it again. I just need to send it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I hit send on that sucker, and we'll see. We'll see if I get a response today. It was a little bit later on last night, but I don't know. You never know. It's one of those things where maybe I'll see it in my inbox and I'll kind of put my fingers over my eyes and create that slit between my fingers and open one eyeball and read the answer from there. But as Ray sent me this this email, I think about it often, Ray. I don't know if you're listening right now, but this early in the morning. But we're talking about my son going to Japan, which, by the way, update. I need some Japan update music here. We've got some updates from my son over in Japan, but it was really encouraging in context of my son going over there. He's like, in order to be brave, we've got to do brave things. And sometimes you just gotta do brave things. So I don't know if that's your motivational speech for today. If you're laying in bed right now thinking, it's cloudy out there, it's rainy out there, I got to get up today, I got to do the things. Maybe try counting down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let this be your motivator today to get up and get going. And maybe, hey, if today is your birthday, maybe you don't have such a hard time. You're like, hey, it's my birthday. I'm going out and doing the things. Somebody's taking me out to breakfast. Somebody's taking me out to lunch. I don't need any motivation. I'm getting up today and I'm enjoying the day because, by gosh, it is my day. And if that's the case, well, then happy stinking birthday to you. I hope you have a fantastic day today. If you have a birthday today, you share it with William Wrigley Jr. Yeah, that Wrigley, American businessman, founded the Wrigley Company, born on this day in 1861. And coincidentally, today is Chewing Gum Day. So I don't know, is it to celebrate Wrigley's birth here? It could just be. Well, some fun facts about chewing gum here in just a little bit. Born on this day in 1882, Hans Geiger, German physicist and academic. Let's see, Truman Capote, born on this day in 1924. Angie Dickinson, American actress, born on this day, 1931. Johnny Mathis, isn't that Put Your Head on My Shoulder? Yeah, Johnny Mathis, born on this day, 1935. And Jenna Elfman, American actress, born on this day in 1971. So happy birthday to them, and happy birthday to you on this Chewing Gum Day. Also on this day in 1927, Babe Ruth hit his 60th home run of the season, a record that stood until 1961. So if you didn't know, now you know. Also on this day in 1452, Johann Gutenberg published his first edition of the Bible. It was completed by 1456. Took a little bit longer to publish some things back then than it does today. All right, speaking of today, we need to find out what our weather is looking like. And for that, he's been waiting patiently in the wings. Meteorologist Tim Root. Timmy, how are we looking out there today?
Tuesday weather forecast is calling for a few spotty showers today and tonight. A weather front coming in, partly to mostly cloudy, right around 70 for the high. It'll be about 55 to 60 overnight, mostly cloudy, maybe a stray shower. A chance of a few more showers Wednesday, another weather front coming in, partly to mostly cloudy. The high in the mid to upper 60s will start to dry out later Thursday into Friday. This is meteorologist Tim Root from FM 104.5 and AM 950 KAHI.
Thank you, Tim. 9 minutes past the top of the hour, 6:09 a.m. When we come back, we're going to be riding the nostalgia train. Well, maybe just my nostalgia train, but speaking of chewing gum, a chewing gum that when I was a kid, and I was looking it up here a little bit on the history of it. Yeah, it was targeted for my age group back in the day. It's called bubble tape. You remember this bubble tape stuff? Also, McDonald's is riding the nostalgia train as well. What are they bringing back? It's something that we all remember from the 90s. A lot of 90s nostalgia coming back here in just a minute, right after these messages.
To tune into AM 950 KI whenever you want? That's not fair. Have a strict boss that only listens to music and never local news? He's not very informed then, but you knew that. Don't worry, you can get KI's up-to-the-minute news information and local advice from our talented KI news team anywhere you want now. Follow KI on Twitter or like KI on Facebook to receive local news updates multiple times a day. You can also download our KI radio app at KI.com and enjoy the voice of the foothills at AM 950 KI at any time, day or night.
Hi, I'm Martha Barnett.
And I'm Grant Barrett.
We're hosts of A Way with Words, a weekly show about language.
We take your calls from anywhere in the country.
And from outside the country, too.
About anything and everything related to communication.
It's a show about speaking and writing and why we say the things we do.
It's also a show about history, family, and culture.
Satisfy your linguistic curiosity Saturdays and Sundays at 7 p.m. on the Voice of the Foothills, AM 950, KAHI.
Hi, this is Andrew Twidwell, owner of ABT Plumbing, Electric, Heat, and Air. ABT has been in business since 2001, and we are thrilled to have been voted Auburn's best plumbing company and best heating and cooling company in Auburn Journal's Best of Auburn promotion. We're very proud to have placed as runner-up in electrical category as well. Our technicians are experienced and friendly. If you have an issue with your plumbing, need a whole house generator, or maybe your furnace isn't working, give ABT a call. Reach us at 530-230-9004 for excellent service. It really is as easy as ABT.
Catch Sinatra and Friends, Saturdays and Sundays, right here on 104.5 FM and AM 950 KHI. Join Frank and his friends, Sammy, Dean, Tony Bennett, and more, performing songs from the Great American Songbook. Sinatra and Friends Weekends, brought to you by Naturewood Home Furnishings on Folsom Boulevard in Rancho Cordova. Right here on the Voice of the Foothills, 104.5 FM, AM 950, and streaming all over the world at KHI.com.
It's the truth! Your principal can't smile, can't swim, can't rap, and I can't stand bubble tape. Your school bus driver can't drive, wears curlers, makes funny noises, won't try bubble tape.
No way, Jose!
Bubble tape, it's 6 feet of bubble gum for you, not them.
Ooh, back in the day, bubble tape, bubble gum on this National Chewing Gum Day. Yeah, that's a little scene from my childhood there. It's for you, not them. Today is National Bubble Gum Day, Chewing Gum Day, I guess. Bubble tape is the one that came to mind when I was in Little League. I played Little League back in the early 90s. The thing to do, you'd go to the little snack bar there at the baseball field, and you'd get a roll of bubble tape, and there's just a bunch of us little leaguers. In our back pockets of our uniforms there you'd see this circle, and it was the outline of bubble tape, and it was 6 feet of just gum, and you just roll it out like a roll of tape, and you kind of rip it off from a little container there, and you just shove this wad of bubble gum in your mouth. There's so much bubble gum that we went through, and you chew it, and it would last for about, I don't know, it wasn't like the Fruit Stripes bubble gum. Did you ever get that? My grandma used to get that. Oh, man, like garage sales or something like that. But that would last for about 2 seconds. Bubble tape, it lasts a little bit longer. I think by the end of a 7-inning, though, Little League baseball game, we had all gone through individually on our own about 6 feet of bubble tape bubble gum. I don't know what it was that appealed, that you just had basically this unlimited, it seemed like an unlimited roll of bubble gum. But man, that was the thing back in the day on this National Bubble Tape or Bubble Gum Day. Basically, gum, if you didn't know, it goes back, it has ancient origins. People have chewed sap and resins for thousands of years. The ancient Greeks chewed mastic gum from mastic trees, and the Mayans chewed chicle, a resin from a sapodilla tree. The first commercial chewing gum was marketed in 1848 by John Curtis. It was called State of Maine Pure Spruce Gum, and the first bubble gum was invented in 1928 by Walter Deemer. Iran, interestingly, has the highest chewing gum consumption in the world. So if you didn't know, now you know. Let's see, what is it here? It's we all want to know. The largest gum bubble in history was the size of a large beach ball. And oh, by the way, we've all heard this little myth here. Swallowing gum doesn't mean that it stays in your stomach for 7 years, but rather passes through the digestive tract. So yeah, there we go. Talking about bubble tape specifically, that from my childhood there, 1 million containers a week at the peak of its popularity in the 1990s. That rings true with my childhood there. The Wrigley Company, now Mars Incorporated, manufactured over 1 million containers of bubble tape per week. I think you can still get bubble tape. As we heard in the commercial there, the Not For Them marketing, early commercials for bubble tape targeted preteens, that was me, with the tagline, quote, "It's 6 feet of bubble gum for you, not them," unquote. Them referring to parents and adults who just wouldn't understand the fun of a massive roll of gum. And I do remember my dad. He's like, what do you need all of that for? I'm like, I don't know, Dad, it's cool. It's what all the kids are chewing, and I got to have the same thing too. So if you're looking to go down memory lane, at least if you're in your 40s right now, bubble tape, if you can find yourself a thing of bubble tape. I don't think I could stand it at this point, but back when I was a kid, my gosh, was that the gum to have. Speaking of nostalgia, you remember McDonald's used to do the Monopoly game pieces? You go and you'd get your Big Mac or fries or whatever and your large soda, and you'd have the little Monopoly pieces on there. Well, I guess you kind of don't notice if it's gone unless it was something that was a staple in your life, but apparently it's been gone for a decade now. The Monopoly promotion is returning to the Golden Arches. This is from the Morning Brew in the U.S. after a hiatus of more than a decade, and this time it's going digital, reportedly with safeguards to prevent cheating. We'll talk about that here in a minute. I don't know if you know, but apparently back in the day, people figured out how to game the system, which is why I think they stopped doing it. Basically, you remember this. It's where you peel the game pieces off of food items, and then you just end up leaving them in your car's cup holder. That's going to begin on Monday and runs through November 2nd. And there's no board for the sticker pieces so we don't have. Maybe you had a board, you had a little fold-out piece of paper, and you put it on there. Well, it's going digital, and you could win anywhere from $1 million to a cordless iron. Now you're going to be required to scan the pieces into the Mickey D's Rewards app, of course, because everything's done digitally online now, and which it's a priority for the company. Why? Well, basically, they want you to join their app and their loyalty program, so that makes sense. They're driving traffic to get you on the app so that you'll see more of the promotions. Okay, that makes sense. It's a marketing thing. I get it. And the trade-off is that you could win something. And the chain, McDonald's, aims to reach 250 million global members by 2027. So they're playing back into the nostalgia again and bringing the Monopoly game pieces back. Now, why did they stop it? Well, this might have been a reason. There's new safety measures to prevent a repeat of the McMillions scandal, Axios reports. And I have not seen this. I am a big fan of documentaries, so I'm going to have to go look this up. But it was the HBO documentary it was called McMillions Scandal. Between 1989 and 2001, major prizes from the popular game were siphoned from customers and into the hands of employees, relatives, and associates. Oh, interesting. So if you're looking if you're a fan of documentaries and you're looking for another one to tune into, the McMillions Scandal apparently was an HBO documentary. So I don't know if you can find that online, or if you've got the HBO streaming service there, it might be on there. But yeah, I might need to check that one out. McDonald's has been leaning into nostalgia to drive sales. The fast food chain last reintroduced Monopoly in 2013, and it created the promo for sales jumping 5% in the quarter that followed. So yeah, playing on the nostalgia there, bringing the Monopoly game back. So if you're into the McDonald's Monopoly game, seeing if you can win that sweet $1 million, which now, don't get me wrong, $1 million is still, that's quite a chunk of change. But in today's economy, you think they maybe adjust for, maybe it would be, I don't know, like $2 million, $5 million? Am I asking? McDonald's, you're like one of the biggest land owners in the country. Like, can you spring for a couple more mil there to make it a little bit more worth our while to get that extra large soda and that large fry and 6-piece McNugget meal? My gosh. And also, can we have the sauce, the good sauce with the McNuggets there? But if you're into playing the Monopoly game at McDonald's, well, you're in luck. You can head there now and through November, see if you can get your hands on that sweet $1 million prize, and be assured that the prizes probably will not be siphoned off to other associates or employees' relatives. Hey, speaking of business and all of those other things, time for us to turn it over now, as we do, to the Fox Business Report. Well, let's try that again. Oh, nope, I guess we can't do the Fox Business Report because it's updating right now. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of a break, and when we come back, we'll see if we can try again the Fox Business Report.
I'm Frederick Penny, host of Radio Law Talk, the most exciting, entertaining, and sometimes informative radio show on earth. Listen to us live on KAHI, the voice of the foothills, every Saturday morning, 9 to noon, here on FM 104.5 and AM 950. You can also find us on KAHI.com and the KAHI app. Remember, that's Radio Law Talk, live 9 to noon every Saturday, right here on KAHI, AM and FM, the voice of the foothills.
Hi, the consumer with a thought for car dealers. I've been driving to work in the same car for 4 years. I need new tires. My front end is shimmying. That tiny rattle in the glove box is pounding in my brain like Chinese water torture. And the transmission is making that funny noise again. The one that goes, $1,200 to fix me, $1,200 to fix me. Why wait until the weekend to sell me a new car? On the weekend, I'm thinking about my crabgrass. On the weekend, I wash my car, and when it's clean, I like it again. So I don't pick up the auto section on the weekend, and I don't see your ad. But come Monday morning, all those little noises and rattles come back like the bad dream you had as a kid about monsters in the closet. The only thing that drowns them out is the radio, so I listen to it instead.
The best time to sell someone a new car is while they're driving their old one. Advertise on this station. Call us for more information.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
23 minutes past the top of the hour, 6:23 a.m. All right, let's talk about another event for the calendar. This one is coming up on Saturday, October 11th, and that is the Walk With Us to Prevent Suicide, the Placer County Out of the Darkness Community Walk. Again, it's going to be on Saturday, October 11th. It's going to be at 175 Pacific Avenue here in Auburn. Registration starts at 9 a.m. Walk begins at 10 a.m. If you want to register, you can go to AFSP, that's AFSP.org, to register ahead of time. And basically, volunteers from Auburn, California are joining thousands of people who are gathering this fall in towns across the United States to promote suicide prevention. The annual Placer County Out of the Darkness Community Walk, again, will be held on Saturday, October 11th, 2025 at Railhead Park here in Auburn. Again, if you need the address for that, that's 175 Pacific Avenue here in Auburn. It's right behind the fairgrounds there, Railhead Park. Suicide is the leading cause of death in the United States and the second leading cause of death of young people ages 10 to 25 in California. Yet suicide can be prevented. This gathering will support the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention's education, research, and support for survivors of suicide loss. In addition to raising awareness and funds to fight suicide, the walk gives those who attend a chance to connect with others and to know that they are not alone, whether they walk in memory or in support of a loved one or in honor of their own mental health journey. Again, Hope walks here, and it's the Suicide Prevention Walk, the Walk With Us, happening on Saturday, October 11th. That's this year, Saturday, October 11th, 2025, 175 Pacific Avenue here in Auburn. Registration starts at 9 a.m. Walk begins at 10 a.m. And again, you can register at afsp.org. Back with your KAHI. No. We're going to have the Fox Business Report. Yeah, we'll see if that happens right after this.
It's time to live better at CAC Fit at 2514 Bell Road in the Crossroads Shopping Center. Whether your fitness goals are to lose weight, gain weight, functional training, or recovery, they've got you covered with customized training programs, fitness classes, hydro massages, and more. Open 7 days a week with 24/7 access. Stop by CAC Fit at 2514 Bell Road in the Crossroads Shopping Center. Call 530-885-1964 or online at cacfit.com.
Hi, this is Mike Nichols. What are you doing Sunday? Join me for the KAHI Swap Shop this Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. The KAHI Swap Shop. This and every Sunday morning starting at 8 here on FM 104.5, AM 950, and KAHI.com, the voice of the foothills.
What do you say now? If it's a nice day now, what do you doing Sunday, baby?
I'm Taylor Riggs, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Barron says a partial government shutdown could pause Wall Street's rally. If it happens, it'll include a delay in the release of the monthly employment report scheduled for Friday. United Natural Foods, the major food distributor for Whole Foods, lost money in the recent quarter. It was hit by a cyber attack in the period. United Natural also supplies Walmart and other grocery operations. It had $15 million worth of costs associated with the cyber attack. The Rhode Island-based business says it's now looking ahead and expects upbeat earnings for the year. Spotify's founder Daniel Ek plans to step down from the CEO job and become executive chairman. Later this morning, the job openings and labor turnover report for the last business day of August is released. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, may I ask a few questions?
Yeah, of course.
Do you have any pets?
Yes, we have a dog.
Great. Do you have a pool outside?
Nope, just a big old backyard.
Nice. Another question. Are there any unlocked guns in the home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, let's just talk about what we can bring for dessert.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey there, KAHI listeners. Producer Adam here to remind you to listen to Chris in the Morning, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Get all the local news, weather, traffic, interviews, and local event reminders you can handle, plus a healthy dose of daily dad jokes. Chris in the Morning, 6 to 9 a.m. here on FM 104.5 and AM 950 KAHI, the voice of the foothills. I never miss it, and neither should you. My goodness, it's early.
It is early. It is 28 minutes past the top of the hour, 6:28 a.m. And hey, let's talk a little bit about I don't know if I'm on board for this schedule, but a new trend is popping up in Silicon Valley. You know, Silicon Valley sets a lot of trends. A lot of stuff came out there from the technology standpoint. Still coming out of there, especially as we're entering this AI age. Silicon Valley loves the 996 grind set trend. What in the world is that? Well, a growing number of Silicon Valley workers appear to be grinding away from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week in an embrace of the 996 workplace trend that originated in China, the New York Times reported. Hustle culture walked so that 996 could run. This is from the Morning Brew again, by the way. Many job listings for Silicon Valley AI startups now openly specify that applicants should be willing to work more than 70 hours per week. If you build it, apparently they will come. The fintech company Ramp reported this month that the San Francisco corporate card charges on restaurants, delivery, and takeout are slightly up on Saturdays this year, beginning around 11 a.m. That's about when you're sitting at your desk and your tummy starts to rumble there a little bit. Quote, why would I go drink at a bar if I can be building a company, unquote. A 23-year-old AI founder named Emily Yan recently said to the Wall Street Journal, her work hard, work harder mentality is increasingly common among a new generation of Silicon Valley upstarts that New York Magazine referred to as, quote, workaholic teenagers, unquote, in a profile of San Francisco's tech culture this month. Execs, not surprisingly here, love that competitive mindset. Of course, if they're gonna love that to get all the work out of you that you can. Google's CEO urged a 60-hour work week earlier this year, and its former leader Eric Schmidt recently said that U.S. tech workers, quote, have to make some trade-offs, unquote, to compete with China's 996 work-life schedule. But hang on, everybody, pump the brakes here just for a second. The 996 is controversial in China, though, not always being embraced. The country cracked down on 72-hour work weeks in 2021 after a 22-year-old woman collapsed and died on her way home from the office at 1:30 a.m. A 996 ban is reportedly rarely enforced, but some Chinese companies have made workers cut back on overtime. And here's the question we're all asking. I'm kind of wondering this myself. Does 996 work? Yeah, it probably works up to a point. But they say so far it's unclear. Startups may get more done in the short term, but some research suggests that working more than 55 hours a week can create health risks and diminish productivity. I think I am on board with that. Like, yeah, if you got the time and you want to work a 996, that's fine with you. But also, maybe in your 20s when you got that kind of energy. But also, gang, let's try and find some work-life balance here. All right, 31 minutes past the top of the hour. We'll be back with Sports Ball right after this.
Hi, this is Dr. Dahlia. Join me for my live call-in medical talk show that answers your questions right here on KAHI. On my show, we tackle issues like cholesterol, diabetes, women's health, children, geriatrics, relationships, and more. And with all that's going on in Washington, we even touch on government and policies.
Dr. Dahlia, weekdays from 9 to noon here on the Voice of the Foothills.
Join me each weekday morning right here on FM 104.5 and AM 950 KAHI, the voice of the foothills.
Oh, Bulldog, have you met my brother Niles? Niles, this is Bulldog Briscoe. Oh, just the man I want to talk to. As a sports expert, I'm sure you can tell me why none of the local media carry the Ivy League squash standings.
Well, we don't have squash standings, but we do have some golf updates here for you. Colfax girls wins first PVL tournament. Colfax High School's girls golf team continued its strong season this week by pulling out a narrow victory in the first Pioneer Valley League tournament at Peachtree Country Club in Marysville. The Falcons shot a team score of 545, edging out second place Bear River by 6 strokes. Despite dropping 2 close dual matches to Bear River earlier in the season, the tournament victory puts the Falcons in position to claim the league title and win the next PVL tournament that would put them in line to claim at least a share of the championship. Coach Maya Lee Ramirez said the team relies on a collective effort rather than a single standout, and this is from the Auburn Journal. So congratulations, Colfax ladies, on the golf W there. Heading over to the NFL yesterday, Monday Night Football happened, and we had the Jets versus the Dolphins. Dolphins on top there, 27-21. And the Bengals versus the Broncos. Well, Broncos took the cake there. They won that one 28-3. That is your sports ball update, 33 minutes past the top of the hour. And we are going to go ahead and head back now to JT in the morning here. As we're coming up here in the 7 o'clock hour, we've got the Meddlers meeting. Haven't had that on for a couple of weeks as I have been out of town. But we will head back into the Meddlers meeting here in the 7 o'clock hour. So make sure you're staying tuned for that, finding out what's going on here in Auburn and in Placer County as a whole. Stay tuned. Lots more coming up. Off to JT in the morning, and I'll see you back here in just a little bit.
Making mornings great again. First thing today on the Talk Media Network by Joe Thomas.
Here's to the babies in a brand new world. Here's to the beauty of the stars. Here's to the travelers on the open road. Here's to the dreamers in the bars. Here's to the soldiers of the bitter war. Here's to the wall that bears their names. Here's to you, my little loves, with blessings from above, and then the day begins. Here's to you, my little loves, with blessings from above, let the day begin, let the day begin, let the day start.
Thank you for letting us be of service to you. 434-882-4217. Bob in Moscow is waiting for us. Somebody asked me, Bob, is it that Moscow, or is it one of the cities in the United States that carries the name Moscow? It's that Moscow, isn't it? We don't say it enough, but there are towns in the United States that carry that name. But how are things in Russia this morning? Bob? Is he there? Bob, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, the phone system's still jacked up a little bit here. So go ahead. What's on your?
I'll call back later.
No. We got you now.
Okay, what's on my mind is perfect way to solve the bill tonight.
Oh, for the government shutdown.
Yes, what they should do is pull a Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and a Barack Obama at the last minute, say at 11:30 Eastern time, present a bill to the Republican House, immediately pass it, send it to the Senate, and put pressure on the Senate saying, just sign it. You can read it later. But this is what we need to do. We need, okay, Democrats, you want to give health care to all the illegal aliens. We agree to that. But in order to do that, to cover the cost, all federal employees effective January 1st will be on Obamacare because it's so wonderful, as you guys said, according to Barack Obama, Schumer, and Pelosi in this big bill they passed to cover it. Don't extend the debt. Make a budget that'll last through the end of the term of President Trump.
Okay.
And let them say, oh, you said we have to compromise. We compromised. We're giving you everything you want. Free health care for the illegals. But in order to do that, we're getting rid of the government employees' benefits because that's what you want. You want them to be on Obamacare because it's so good. So all the politicians, everyone will no longer have access to the military, hospitals, or anything else. Yeah. They will all be on Obamacare.
Well, I think you could even take it further than that. Give every federal employee exactly the same health care the illegals are going to get. And see how quickly they go, because, what is a non-citizen? What does some guy from Guatemala know about what to expect from American health care? So we could send him into an alley behind the movie theater and say, yeah, that's your clinic in there. Good luck. Have a nice day. And some guy wiping snot from his nose is taking care of him.
But think about this. The Republicans are missing an optimal opportunity. Sign all these people up for Obamacare, okay? All the illegal aliens are free health care. When they come in to sign up, have ICE be there and get them out of our country.
I think that's another way to do it. It's the old, hey, we have your lottery winnings here. Show up at the police station where we're holding it. They're good stuff, Bob. You have a great morning. Well, go ahead.
Yep.
Last thought.
You too. Well, it's a good way to get rid of all the truly bad illegals, which is all illegal aliens in America, because they broke our law. If I did the same thing in Russia, what do you think would happen to me?
Ask Brittany Griner.
Well, no, she broke the law. She brought drugs into this country, which is against the law. Mark Fogel brought drugs into Russia, which is against the law. It's no different than if I brought illegal drugs back into America and Customs and Border agents caught me going through customs. I would be arrested, period.
Yeah.
So they both broke the law.
Right. Well, in this country, we seem like we have a moving target over the law. Thank you, Bob. You have a good morning, sir.
Yep.
All right. Engineers get back on the technology there and figure out what's going on with the phone system there. Speaking of drugs, just a release yesterday. Apparently, in the 9 months of this year since the administration began, the task force that includes the Coast Guard and all of DEA and all of that, for the fiscal year, 1 million pounds of cocaine seized. Just cocaine. I feel like Dr. Evil. 1 million pounds. 1 million pounds would fill 42 dump trucks. And it is enough to create 378 million lethal doses of cocaine. Do the math. That's enough to kill every single American and a few of the illegals, too. That's how much cocaine has been seized on its way into the United States since the administration began its border crackdown on it. Think about 42 dump trucks. If you've ever been stuck in traffic behind a slow-moving cadre of paving trucks on their way to fill in potholes along your highways, imagine 42 of them, all with white powder, just like blowing off in the breeze. A bunch of really happy drivers. So a little taste testing going on there. Man. And it was like, can somebody ask Rand Paul if he's concerned if these drugs were intended for medicinal purposes or something? Text right now. Joe, cocaine used to be prescribed for, well, yeah. Cocaine used to be prescribed for medicinal purposes. So did a lot of things. Psilocybin, we're still having the debates over magic mushrooms. And the pain relief of THC and all of these things that we're looking at. And it's a difficult place because, when you throw that stuff at me at 434-882-4217, you know how I feel about blaming inanimate objects for the bad things that people do while holding them. And to a degree, I feel that way regarding our drug policy. Punish somebody for doing something while under the influence. Fine with that. You're driving the car under the influence, it should be a crime. Trying to fly an airplane after 3 martinis, may have a problem with that too, even if it's legal. But there is an abstract that says, it's just a freaking plant. What we do with it is criminal. What we do to ourselves with it. And maybe that's part of the problem is we can't check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. We indulge our vices so frequently and so voraciously that, all this stuff that, 50 years ago certainly 100 years ago, wasn't even a concern to anyone. Why do you think the slogan was "Have a Coke and a Smile"? Because the marketing agency said, hey, you know, everyone seems to be a little perkier after they have a Coca-Cola. Yeah, we figured out why, too. Anyway, so 1 million pounds of cocaine seized.
Hi, I'm Mark Falter with the Financial Fitness Show. Have you been keeping up on the big, beautiful bill? If you are over the age of 60, everything you thought you knew about taxes and tax preparation has just done a big shift. So if you want to get more information on how the big, beautiful bill applies to you, I welcome you to call and ask for the Tax Reform Kit. It's got several things in it pertaining to your taxes. A booklet titled Take Charge of Your Taxes, Tax Strategies, several things in it. 866-764-2635. Again, 866-764-2635. The Tax Reform Kit. Again, 866-764-2635. Again, 866-764-2635.
And good Tuesday morning to you. It is September 30th, and it is 15 minutes to the top of the hour, 6:45. And hey, good morning to you, Colfax. Currently 55 degrees right now. It's cloudy outside, looking for a high today of 65 degrees. And speaking of Colfax, let's talk about what's going on this Saturday, October 4th. If you didn't hear, they're having the Pints and Grooves. That's bands you love, brews you'll crave, a legacy you can join in on historic Main Street in Colfax. Yeah, we were talking a few weeks back about Colfax has applied for this, I think it's the Levitt Foundation grant, which I heard producer Shane said yesterday that the Colfax made it into the top 50. I think we're number 47 or something like that. And in order to get this grant that would basically pay for, give money to bring bands in and have music throughout the summer. So who doesn't like going out outdoors and enjoying a great concert, some music in the park there? And this is just a way to kind of help pave the way for that. So if you want to come and support and come to historic downtown Colfax, you can absolutely do that. It's going to be on South Main Street. Again, it's going to be this Saturday, October 4th from 4 to 8 p.m. I heard producer Shane is going to be there running sound. So if you want to come down and get some autographs from producer Shane, do that. Maybe buy him, he doesn't drink beer, so don't buy him a beer. Maybe buy him a soda or something like that, or bring him a nice cup of water. It's out there from 4 to 8 p.m. And say hey to producer Shane as he's running sound for this concert that's happening on historic Main Street there in Colfax. Come on down, enjoy a pint, and groove along to some of the music that's happening. Again, this Saturday, October 4th from 4 to 8 p.m. Admission, totally free. It's great on the pocketbook there. Open to all ages, and don't miss this in historic downtown Colfax. Live music from top local and regional bands, beer and wine, 21 plus with valid ID, of course, and food trucks will be there serving up mouth-watering eats as well. Whether you're local, a music lover, a craft beer enthusiast, or just exploring things to do in Colfax, Pints and Grooves is your invitation to dance in the streets and experience the best of small town energy. Come for the music, stay for the vibe. Again, it's this Saturday, October 4th from 4 to 8 p.m. All right, we're going to head over now to the California Ag Report right after this.
Looking for style, savings, and something for everyone? Come to Auburn's department store, McCullough's. From fashion to furniture, beauty to bedding. Find it all under one roof with plenty of parking. And right now, save up to 50% store-wide during McCullough's summer kickoff sale. Family owned and operated. So save time, gas, and money by shopping McCullough's department store in the Auburn Town Center right off of Elm.
It's time for California Ag Today on the Ag Information Network. I am Haley Shipp. The U.S. Department of Justice, or the DOJ, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture have now formalized a new partnership that is aimed at protecting competition in agricultural markets. The two agencies signed a memorandum of understanding on September 26th that focuses on key inputs such as feed, fertilizer, fuel, seed, and equipment. According to the DOJ's Antitrust Division, the agreement strengthens existing coordination and establishes new channels for regular consultation between attorneys, economists, and technical experts. Assistant Attorney General Abigail Slater said, antitrust enforcement ensures free market competition for agricultural inputs, lowering costs for farmers and prices for consumers. She goes on to say that America's farmers deserve nothing less than the best the Antitrust Division and USDA can do to promote competitive markets that free them to feed America. The National Farmers Union welcomed the move, citing rising input costs and corporate consolidation as urgent challenges. NFU President Rob LaRue said, American agriculture is at a breaking point. We commend the USDA and DOJ for hearing NFU's call to action and stepping up to confront these challenges.
A large selection of over 2,000 used pieces of construction equipment and other top brand assets will be up for bidding in the Ritchie Brothers Sacramento sale event October 8th and 9th. Registration for this absolute unreserved auction is open to the public and completely free. So make sure to visit rbauction.com to view our available inventory of truck tractors, excavators, compact track loaders, trailers, and more. This exclusive auction will be conducted entirely online, but we're still happy to welcome you on site for in-person inspections. Once again, visit rbauction.com to learn more.
For the last 40 years, the Ag Information Network has been the source of news for farmers and ranchers. Yet we have never seen such an assault on farming and our food supply as we do today. From fuel to fertilizer, farmers are facing unprecedented economic challenges. This is why agriculture news that farmers receive comes from the Ag Information Network, reaching coast to coast. Deep roots in farming and decades of reporting, the Ag Information Network, trusted and transparent journalism for generations.
On the Ag Information Network, I am Haley Ship.
10 minutes to the top of the hour, 6:50 a.m. All right, we're going to head back to JT in the morning to finish off this hour. And when we come back in the 7 o'clock hour, it's time for the Auburn Meddlers meeting. We're going to head back there. Had a couple weeks off here, back to find out what's happening in the city of Auburn and in Placer County. Back with more. Back to JT in the morning, already in progress.
To JT in the morning radio at gmail.com. Sure, I called my wife and woke her up. Isn't that what you would do there? I want to jump back this morning while we were talking about, obviously, the looming partial government shutdown, although it might be less partial than it used to be. President is going to use a loophole to start furloughing and laying off and firing federal workers during the shutdown. And, you know, for heaven's sake, if they are the non-essential members of the government, what's the skin, right? I know unemployment's going to go up in Maryland and Virginia. Life's rough. Get a helmet. And this premise that the only thing we can do is create jobs. This leads and feeds the leftist viewpoint that the only reason to start a business is to make jobs. The only reason to start a government program is to make jobs. Well, if the community doesn't need the job, then the job's not going to exist. And if the community can't afford the job, that's racist. You know, these are the same people that killed Lincoln before he could set up an economy for the freed black slaves. These are the same people politically and ideologically that passed the Permanent Reapportionment Act to keep the black community from getting more congressional representation. And we're the evil doers. We're the ones. And at some point, it has to break free from this idea that our life will be better. And I've said this before, and the zealots on the left, they'll never admit such a thing, though they know it to be true, that the idea that you can vote your life into balance is a fool's errand at best. Insane from where I sit. It's a mania. And lots of column inches that are going to be challenging you. This one from Esquire magazine, or I guess Esquire online. I don't think they publish a magazine anymore. There's only one way to read the data. Right-wing terrorism is an existential threat to American life. Run that through our translator. Christians are a threat to Marxists on the left. What is the first thing Karl Marx wanted to said you have to get rid of in the Utopia? The church. You have to insert the government for the church. And what is the government run by? Voting. We all get to vote on this stuff. Could you imagine a church, and you probably don't have to because I have a feeling there are some of them out there. We're going to vote on what we discuss on Sundays. I don't want to talk about that passage of the Bible. It makes me feel bad, so I vote against it. Who's with me? We'll all take votes on what Scripture says. But they do. That's what is happening. We are deciding for ourselves what we want and what we don't want. It's the ultimate in democratic theocracy. And the interesting thing is the people who are fomenting it insist they're not Marxist, but this is core of Karl Marx's creed, which is to eliminate the church. And all of this church-based supposed violence, now allegations coming out of Michigan that this guy, we have the clip of the city council candidate. Now, first off, city council candidate, which means he wants to hold elected office, telling the news that he actually was door knocking in Michigan and came across the guy who wound up shooting up and then burning down the Mormon church in Michigan over the weekend, and he said that this guy just went off on him.
Anti-Mormon. I mean, then it got into that, they have additional books in their Bible, the Mormon Bible. He goes, that's not Christian. They put people above Jesus. And then really what I walked away with, the statement I'll never forget was that Mormons are the Antichrist.
And so that's the hay now that's being made, is that this was a battle that was flashpointed in Utah when Charlie Kirk was shot by a kid who was raised in a family of followers of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Church. And then you got the guy in North Carolina who's thinks that, and LGBTQ, by your adherence to Scripture, men laying amongst other men as they would with women. But what we're failing to do is explain why. Why is that scriptural? There are people who say it doesn't matter. I don't give a crap. I don't care why it should matter, because it's about building a community. You can't build a community if everyone's laying with the same gender and not having children. And now we're back at Paul Ehrlich and the population bomb. The Marxists, the population control, eugenics, racism, it all winds together. There is despicable stuff at the root of all of this. And it's tearing us away from the simplicity of the Ten Commandments. And the simplicity of the American construct, which is you have the right to live your life up until just before it impacts somebody else's life. And if we can get back to a world where you can live and let live as long as you don't impact somebody else's life, a few hundred years will go by and somebody will come up with some way to convince people that you going to a different church on Sunday than I do impacts my life some way. Because it's all about power, and there's only one power. And how you find your connection to your Creator, the most powerful word in human history, there. All men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator. But you have to recognize the other people's inalienable rights as well. And we're being pulled away from this by Marxists, be they Islamist Marxists or political Marxists or theocratic Marxists, just old school bureaucratic Marxists. It doesn't make a difference. This is all Marx all the time. The unfunny Marx brother, Karl.
Hi, I'm Mark Falter with the Financial Fitness Show. Have you been keeping up on the big, beautiful bill? There's a lot of information in this bill. It's 877 pages long. And for that reason, we're offering a free webinar. July 31st at 6:30 p.m. Central, where you can actually get on and ask your questions. Come with your questions. Come with your scenario, and hopefully we'll have time to answer. It's going to be about 30, 45 minutes long. It's going to be more interactive. And if you want to know how you can get on that webinar, 866-764-2635. Again, 866-764-2635. July 31st at 6:30 p.m. Central. Free webinar. 866-764-2635. 866-764-2635. Again, 866-764-2635.
FM 104.5, K283CM, Auburn, and AM 950, KAHI, Auburn.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. When it comes to the multifaceted Trump-Gaza peace plan, the ball is now in Hamas's court. And President Trump, speaking alongside Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, says he hopes that Hamas will accept the ambitious blueprint for ending the war and releasing the hostages.
If Hamas rejects the deal, which is always possible, they're the only one left. Everyone else has accepted it. But I have a feeling that we're going to have a positive answer. But if not, as you know, Bibi, you'd have our full backing to do what you would have to do.
Israel would be free to destroy what's left of the terrorist group. 8 Arab states have endorsed the Trump plan, calling for a demilitarized Gaza with no place for Hamas. The BBC's Yolande Nell in Jerusalem.
The Palestinian government in the occupied West Bank said it welcomed President Trump's plan to end the war and pledged to implement the reforms it calls for. And while Israeli hostage families and opposition parties are also on board, Israel's prime minister risks the collapse of his governing coalition if far-right ministers conclude he's made too many concessions for a peace deal.
The clock is ticking toward a midnight deadline for a government shutdown. As of now, no agreement to keep the lights on once the deadline passes. President Trump at Marine Corps Base Quantico.
I'm thrilled to be here this morning to address the senior leadership of what is once again known around the world as the Department of War.
Turning Point USA's college tour returns to Utah today for its first event in the state since its founder, Charlie Kirk, was assassinated on a college campus earlier this month. On Wall Street this morning, Dow futures are down 115 points. The NASDAQ futures off 43. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity, and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
Questions abound over how a new Ethiopian dam is affecting flooding next door in Sudan.
Earlier this month, Ethiopia inaugurated the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, or GERD, Africa's largest dam, to boost the economy. Addis Ababa says The dam has helped lessen floods that have recently hit Sudan, but speculation rises over whether it has actually caused the deluges. Khartoum on Saturday issued a flood alert citing rising water levels along the Nile River's two main tributaries, the Blue and White Nile. Sudanese authorities maintained the alert on Monday. I'm Charles Tulafesma.
Rescuers ran oxygen and water to students trapped in the unstable concrete debris of a collapsed school building in Indonesia. They desperately worked to free survivors. At least 3 students are dead, more than 100 injured in that collapse. It happened yesterday afternoon at the Islamic school in East Java province. Townhall.com. Another cold case solved by police investigators in Texas, relying on cutting-edge technology.
Austin police outlining how a new DNA and ballistics evidence trail led them to declare a dead man as the likely perpetrator in the killing of 4 teenage girls in a yogurt shop in 1991. 2 other men had previously been convicted in the killings, one of whom was briefly sent to death row. Police now say all evidence leads to Robert Eugene Brashers, who killed himself in a 1999 standoff with police. He has also been linked to several killings and rapes in other states. Jason Walker reporting.
A firm managed by presidential son-in-law Jared Kushner is among a group of investors purchasing video game maker Electronic Arts for a whopping $55 billion. More on these stories at Town Hall.
S&B Smog Hog. Drive up for quick, clean, certified results. We'll have you in and out the door for $53.25. There are no hidden fees. If you don't pass, the retest is free. Roll in ready, roll out tested and certified. S&B Smog Hog. Small town roots and high performance pride. No appointment needed, but we're happy to make one if you prefer. Monday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. and at 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday. Come in and see us. S&B Smog Hog. Located at 350 Sacramento Street, where the recycling center used to be.
Advertise with KAHI Radio, the voice of the foothills, and you'll reach those who matter most. Your local customers for your local business. Here's Fred Penny of Penny & Associates to tell you why he uses KAHI Radio.
5 minutes past the top of the hour, 7:05 a.m. It is Tuesday. It is the 7 o'clock hour, which means we are going to head over to the Meddlers meeting. They're just getting started right now. We're starting off with updates from the city of Auburn from City Manager Sean Rabe. Let's go to the meeting now.
Really nice to be up at Gold Hill Gardens for that. It's one that I really look forward to each year. So obviously we announced the Employee of the Year. I announced this earlier, but Amy Land is the Employee of the Year. She's on Zoom, I think. So congratulations again, Amy. She's worked for the city for 16 years. First started as an assistant clerk, city clerk, and then she became the appointed clerk when voters approved changing that from elected to appointed position. She's a master city clerk, got that designation in 2023. She's worked for 4 different full-time city managers, one of them twice, numerous interim city managers, and she told me earlier that I'm the best one she's ever worked with. So that's cool. I'm putting words in her mouth. Yeah.
You proclaim that.
Yes. Well, yeah. She knows that her performance evaluation is still pending. So also during that event, they honored the County Employee of the Year, which was District Attorney Morgan Geyer and his team. That's all that I'm saying. I'm not getting into it. Healthcare Award was Dr. Umana Khan. The Cultural Award went to David and Coca Burns from the Gomez Center. Big thing in our community, obviously. Friend of Recreation Award was Rotary Club of Auburn. Go Rotary. Education Award was Randall Fee, Coach Fee. Friend of Agriculture was Brian Pimentel. Business of the Year was Ropers. And the McCann Award went to Pat and Pete Enox. So good job on that.
Thank
you. Finance side. So during the last council meeting, council approved a formal grant policy to help provide more structure to our grant processes. It's really important for us to have that in place because we've gotten caught a little bit on a couple of previous grants where we didn't know the full ramifications of what the grant requirements were. So reasons for that policy are basically making sure that revenue that's received is actually booked to the year that it's received in. Typically, we'll get some of that revenue late. And if we don't know the requirements of the grant, we end up putting it towards current fiscal year instead of the year it was supposed to go into. That actually happened last year, not this year. but it throws off the accounting and the general fund. So the process now is that there's a grant form that needs to be prepared by any of the department directors who want to submit a grant that goes routed through me, through finance, and through the department director themselves to make sure that everybody's on board with the grant. I can approve a grant award for $40,000 or less. Anything above that, or if I think that the council should be notified of the grant, then we'll take it to council and council approve it. So it's just creating more structure so we got better financial tracking and better financial decisions. So Public Works, I was going to talk about the roundabout, but Mengel's here, so I'm going to let Mengel take bullets on that, not me.
Yeah, deflect.
Yes.
Deflect.
Yes. He knows more of it than I do. I would just end up asking him. On the cannabis stuff, so we had those 2 workshops last week. So that direction was given to council or to the staff on August 25th. So we have an online survey that's still open. If you have any concerns about the cannabis stuff, you can fill out that survey. The in-person workshop was held on September 17th. The Zoom one was held on September 24th. The in-person one was much more well attended than the Zoom one. The Zoom one only had a handful of people, but both of those were scheduled so we can kind of start getting input from the community. The results from the 2 workshops obviously are final because we received all that. At each workshop, they were asked to share their views on policy questions like, should we allow cannabis? Where should it be? How many licenses should we allow? Clear takeaway from both of those workshops was a strong support for allowing commercial cannabis in Auburn. And so now process is taking the information from the workshops, taking the information from the survey once that shuts down, and taking that to council at the first meeting in October to talk about, do you want us to move forward with cannabis? Do you not want us to move forward with it? And then give direction to bring back an ordinance. If they say yes to bring the ordinance back, the process would then go to the planning commission because it's a zoning ordinance. So planning commission would hear it, make a recommendation to council. That would happen probably November, and then to council sometime at the beginning of the new year. So if you have concerns about cannabis, then make sure to fill out the form. Yeah, Tom.
Do you make a differentiation between recreational cannabis versus medical?
So that's one of the questions on the survey to see what people think. We could do either one. The recreational has a higher tax load for us to receive more revenue. The medicinal has a lower tax load, but the city would still receive the same kind of benefit amount, the same dollar amount. The state doesn't get any from that though. And so that's a question that we're trying to figure out. Do we want to do both? Do we want to do only recreational, only medicinal? Medicinal is available for starting at age 18, all the way up, obviously, to whoever needs it. You have to have a card and do all that stuff. So it's part of the discussion that we're having now.
Is the sales tax rate different for one or the other?
Yeah, so we can say there's multiple pieces to it. There's a state excise tax, there's a sales tax rate, but then there's also a business fee that we would put onto it. So it wouldn't be an actual sales tax that would go to the voters. It would be a business fee. And we could set that at whatever we want. We can't set it too high, obviously, because then it'll price out the city and whoever the licensee is, assuming that would go forward with it. So typically it's between 6% and 4%. We're looking at probably 4%, just because 6% seems to kind of kick people out, and there's not as much business coming in.
That's the sales tax you're referring to?
The business tax. The sales tax is the same rate as everything else.
And the state excise is?
It's like 14%, I think.
So the total tax?
Could be 14% plus 7.25 plus 4. So it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
Tax.
Right. So it's just, that's part of the reason why I think, the market's kind of gotten saturated with dispensaries. And so it's harder for people to make money on the dispensary side than it was 3, 4, or 5 years ago, right? So trying to make sure that this isn't going to be like a huge cash cow for the city. It'll provide some revenue, but it's not going to be millions and millions of dollars to the city because of all of those taxes that people need to pay.
Taxes and fees, all of that is reinforced the black market.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I don't look at me.
Don't look at you. So State Theater, so that's cannabis. State Theater, so staff recently met with the design team working on the State Theater project. After, going back after that big storm in early 23, the roof collapsed. Most of the restoration work's been completed on the State Theater. Their team is exploring additional improvements, including expanded theater seating, ADA accessibility upgrades, some new paint, all that stuff. They're also looking at a potential addition. We're not involved with that, but we're processing permits and doing that. So plans are still under discussion. The city is obviously super invested in making sure that business can open back up. It's a critical part of our community to get that theater reopened. So we're doing whatever we can to help move that along as much as we can.
Where would the extension go?
I think they're talking about doing it on the backside. And doing something bigger to help get larger set pieces in, but I don't really know. I haven't been super involved with it. That's my understanding though. Carnegie Library, they're taking another step towards improving accessibility at that building. That's a city-owned building. The city provided a portion of our ARPA funding to help get that building kind of cleaned up and then also just fixed. Plans for Carnegie include a new pathway connecting to the public sidewalk to the building's lower front entrance. And then they're going to be installing a Garaventa passenger lift. So I think it's one of the chairs to get you up to the second floor. I have new information. Cheryl Mackey just corrected me. The roof did not collapse. It was the ceiling that fell. The roof is fine. Thank you, Cheryl, for that. All combined with the past upgrades that they've done with the Carnegie, making sure that building is as accessible as possible, obviously important. And then the work that group has done is just amazing. They've done an incredible amount of work. So really nice. PD, members of the police department, the fire department, public works, and the building department participated in a joint tabletop exercise hosted by Office of Emergency Services for a wildlife scenario originating in the canyon and then advancing towards the city of Auburn. So tabletop, basically you're pretending that something has happened, but you try to make it as realistic as possible. So the folks who were as part of that training exercise identified the official evacuation zones, the evacuation warning areas, key concerns related to the evacuation process. And then that data is going to be analyzed by specialists to highlight the areas of concern and improve future evacuation planning and response efforts. I asked the fire chief once, like, do we have like an official evacuation route? And the answer to that is sort of, but it depends on where the fire is, right? Because if the evacuation route leads you into the fire, like, we don't want you going into the fire, you got to go the other way. And so key thing is, like, there might be an established evacuation route, but listen to people who are telling you to go the direction to get away from the fire. Don't follow what the official evacuation route is unless that's where you should be going. That actually has happened in the past. So, and then also on the PD side, they had an individual with an extensive history of property crimes attempt to steal merchandise from CVS on Tuesday, September 23rd. That person was stopped by store employees. Our officers responded quickly, identified the subject, confirmed that he was on active probation, and hooked him up with probation. So he is no longer in our community, and probation did what they're supposed to do, and our police officers are keeping our community safe. That's kind of it. The upcoming agenda for the 13th, we're going to have the cannabis discussion. That's the biggest thing I think that we have going. Meetings coming up for the rest of the year. October council meetings are the same as usual. So 2nd, 4th, October 13th and 27th. The second meeting in November is canceled because of Thanksgiving. The council reorganization, so switching the mayors and the vice mayor, will happen on Monday, December 1st. And then Monday, December 8th will be the regular council meeting, and then we'll go dark for the rest of the year because of Christmas and holiday stuff. So that's it.
It's on October 13th. We have a council meeting.
I think so. That's what I have.
People.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Question.
Let's hear from Angel.
We have one more guest first.
Angel Z authorized.
She drove all the way down just to answer your question.
I've got a slew of questions for you.
Yeah, I bet you do. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Last week was a hectic week. We had the Board of Supervisors up in Tahoe. That's why I wasn't with you Tuesday. Monday, we had a meeting, one other supervisor and the CEO and I met with North Tahoe Fire. We're trying to work out issues with a gondola permit for Homewood Ski Area so they can get their gondola going. Because that project's been approved, but we're still dealing with the fire department on some issues for the future there. Then we had the Board of Supervisors meeting Monday afternoon. Monday evening, we did the chaplaincy event. Palisades Tahoe hosts every year an event for the Placer County Law Enforcement Chaplaincy event. And for those of you who don't know, the chaplains are non-denominational. They are volunteers and they show up 24 hours a day, 365 days a year to help our first responders and our victims. So if there's a tragedy and law enforcement needs to go to the home to personally inform the folks, they have to get back on the job, but the chaplains stay with the family and they help them notify other loved ones. They help them deal with the trauma that they're facing and calls to make. They're really a phenomenal group. And I just urge you, if you're ever interested, to look at their website, see what they do. There's 2 events a year that they raise money, and we hope you'll support them. And Palisades hosts them every year because they have had a lot of tragedies with avalanches, with ski patrol, deaths and injuries. A lot of the first responders, ski patrol people encounter our first responders on the mountain and also deal with that. So they've done a great job in continuing to host that event every year. Tuesday, we had the board meeting and primarily focused on Tahoe specific issues. So not much to report that I think means a lot down here. TRPA was Wednesday all day, meeting on the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency board. And then on Thursday, Sophie and I toured the new vocational mental health facilities at the South Placer Jail. Those are going to be ready to open, I believe, the middle of October with a ribbon cutting. That will relieve some of the burden on our jail to those that really are in need of more significant mental health services, care, thank you, and will be in a different wing. And there's actually kind of a group setting, more common shared cells. And then on the other side, there is a pod that will be single occupants, those that are most disturbed who really can't function with others well at this point. So, and then the vocational, to see the company that built the jail also donated a lot of welding table and equipment, and really trying to teach trades to individuals so they can get out of jail and get on a productive trade in our community. A number of other vocational training issues there too, but the welding shop was pretty amazing. And then we toured the new buildings that we bought in Rockland, the West Oaks building. One, the sheriff has already opened with a little substation there to respond to the west part of the county. That is where we're also hoping to do a pilot crime lab. And then on the other building, looking at moving some of the services for the west end of the county from the assessor's office, revenue services. I'm trying to remember, Sophie, do you remember who else is going in there? And then Supervisor DeMattei will have an office in that building along with his staff. So making use of those buildings, they were much cheaper to buy than to build new buildings on the west part of the county. And they will be well used. I mean, already I could see we're running out of space when everybody started saying we need this and we need that. So, but it was a great tour to see what we purchased. And then, of course, Thursday night, we had the community awards dinner where the county did award Morgan Geyer and his team for their incredible efforts in our district attorney's office, the service they provide to all Placer County residents. Great party, great event, great weather. Thank you, Michelle. You ordered all that. I know. And then Friday, I was able to take a helicopter tour with Chief Estes, Supervisor DeMattei, and the CEO. We toured the past fire areas throughout District 5, which is a lot of fires, going back 20 years, looking at some of the fire scars that still exist, looking at where the high threat areas border those, and then went down with Supervisor DeMattei down through the Bickford Ranch area and some of where we've seen the grass fires out by Lincoln and Bickford Ranch. Really a fascinating tour to see from the air some of those areas that have burned right up to the edge of communities and threat zones, and how we can continue to focus on that. And then Saturday, we had the Placer Land Trust Party in the Preserve. And I was honored to present a commendation to the Colfax Todd's Valley Consolidated Tribes for Conservator of the Year. You may know Placer Land Trust has worked with them to turn over some of the original tribal lands, like it's only about an acre, I think, up outside of Colfax, back to the tribe. And they're working with their indigenous practices of reintroducing fire back into the landscape because cultural burning was tens of thousands of years of cultural burning did help keep our forest at bay. It was really when we all arrived from Europe that we kind of changed the practices. And so reintroducing some of those tribal practices into landscape to help with our fire issues. How many of you have experienced the 49 signal issues? Okay, including me. We're working with Caltrans. We've heard you. We're working with Caltrans and putting pressure on District 3 to get that timing readjusted. A couple of years ago, we had this issue, as I recall. The timing got off and it created a huge amount of issues. So we've heard you, we're working on it, and we hope to have that resolved. And then Loxley Lane, as you turn to go up toward the airport, there's quite a large pothole that reappears. Heard about that one, and DPW has assured me that they're going to get that one repaired more permanently. Upcoming this week, tomorrow night, at Del Oro High School, we will have a workshop on the Hope Way project. That is an affordable housing project, Hope Way in Penryn, that is getting a lot of controversy about the size and the affordability issues. That workshop is at 6 p.m. and the CEDRA staff are holding that, anticipating trying to answer people's questions in person and get the facts out before the Planning Commission hears it, potentially October 16th, I think. So we're trying to make sure that we get out in front of the public. The staff want to make sure they've answered the questions. And then Thursday evening, 5:30 to 7, right here at the HHS building at North Auburn on the Government Center campus, we will have a tenant preference policy workshop. The county, we've been asking as the Board of Supervisors, county staff, what can we do to assure the public that when we are housing, either through permanent supportive housing or affordable housing, that we are giving preference to, in our case, we'd like to see Placer County residents. We'd like to see veterans. We'd like to see people that are from Placer County being housed in Placer County. I think what we all agree is we don't want to become an attraction from people to come from elsewhere to take over our affordable housing. We have plenty of housing need here, but we, under state law, there's only certain preferences we can give, and the staff will be hosting this workshop to hear from you if what I just said makes sense, or if there's other groups of tenants that we should be looking at. There were two workshops. One is tonight, Sophie, I think up in North Tahoe, and this one will be at HHS tomorrow, Thursday night. Gathering in 44 of 51 tents are occupied, and there's 94 of 96 in the congregate shelter of the beds are taken. So still a bit under the maximum, and we seem to be kind of staying right in that at that level. So happy to answer questions, Ray.
Well, mine would relate to the Penryn operation, the subsidized housing, affordable housing issue down there, and the effect on the infrastructure, schools, roads, availability to shopping. You know, all these questions I'm sure have been asked, but what is the biggest objections that you're hearing on this?
I think of the Penryn, and you saw the editorial that Brian wrote in the Auburn Journal. The impacts to Penryn, because if you just look, depending on how you count Penryn's population, it's pretty small. So to put 200 apartments or 220, whatever the
or something like
could make they feel a significant change. It's located right there off the highway. I stopped in at that coffee shop the other day. I met with Alice and we were having coffee at that new coffee shop that's right there off that exit. And I kind of drove around after and said, there are businesses, there are agricultural jobs in that area. So there are some jobs there, but a lot of our affordable housing there's jobs all over. Whether they're working up here in Auburn or down the hill a little further. But the people in Penryn seem very concerned about the impacts on their community. Will they be into their community versus out onto 80 and to their jobs? The schools, fire services, emergency services, all those are legitimate issues that need to be addressed.
1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. So you will have children. School-aged children.
Right.
And again, the impact from the school system in Penryn, can't handle that kind of impact.
Well, and I think those are good questions for the county on a policy level. Since we're helping meet our RENA needs, what do we need to do? Obviously, school funding comes based on number of kids you serve. So you get more funding from the state. Are there other things the county should be looking at as we try to achieve our RENA numbers? Our regional housing needs. So are there other programs or funding opportunities? I can't answer that right now, but certainly it was a question I asked after we heard the first, after we rezoned these parcels throughout the county. That was one of the questions we heard. Any individual area feels they're going to have impacts. I'm going to pull together all the numbers in Auburn because we're taking just here in Auburn between AMI housing, permanent supportive housing, the mobile temporary shelter, the congregate shelter. We have and Mercy housing. We have a lot of housing right here in Auburn that I think we're speaking for my communities that I represent. We're taking a big share of the housing right now. So.
It was interesting. Yesterday, I was walking in my neighborhood and I spoke with a lady who won't walk into WIT because she's afraid of it. And I said, I don't have a problem walking into WIT, but I understood she's a little older than I am. But I told her how many people were at the congregate shelter and she was shocked. She did not realize there was, basically 150 people living up there that are, and so it doesn't make, I'm 2 blocks away. It doesn't make a big impact in our neighborhood for the most part. They usually stay over there and, they're involved in enough activities that they're not coming over to the park to get high too often. Once in a while. Yeah.
But there will be, impacts or perceived impacts wherever we put housing. So this is why you pay me the big bucks to figure out where it should go, where it won't bother anybody, but they'll have close access to everything.
This is all part of the mandated rezoning that we had to go through here a year ago or last season. Yeah. And then spotted them here and there around the neighborhoods and just did the best you could. Found willing property owners to do this.
And the gentleman who's proposing to develop that, has the ones up in North Auburn. What are the apartments just across from the new Tesla Super, behind Rayleigh's there? Those apartments,
Yeah.
those are what USA Properties manages those as well.
The Elks property back there, the Elks building, yeah.
What's the population of Penryn, do you know?
They say, 600, 700, 800, something like that.
640.
Yeah.
So 240 units moving in there could be a significant change for them.
Yeah, although Penryn's unincorporated, so it's kind of hard to say. Depending on where you draw that circle. You know, like all of us, we know exactly what's in Auburn, the city.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Is it the property where the apartments are going? Is that the property that the Buddhist church sold back when people went crazy? They thought they were going to put up condos and.
I don't know if the Buddhist church, it's right, so
Where you're talking.
the Lutheran church, and then it's between the Lutheran church and the Buddhist church, but you're on the street up from the Buddhist church. But that might be a back exit out for emergency equipment if
I
needed.
seem to remember they sold property, and this is when Sherry was still on the board. And everybody gave them a bad time, people that lived in Finland, because they didn't want to have anything built at all. And he said, wait a minute, their property, they sold it, the new people can do, as long as it, it doesn't impact.
They have some new businesses going in there, the new animal hospital, and then those condos and apartments just down the street along that freeway. So there's some new businesses going in.
Well, they even have now that winery. I don't know how big or whatever it's doing, but, things change. I mean, what can you say? It's not going to be a farming community that long anymore.
Okay, any other questions for Cindy?
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Before I forget, if anyone left their water bottle last week, there's one on the
35 minutes past the top of the hour, 7:35 a.m. If you're just tuning in, we're listening to the Auburn Meddlers meeting, the Chamber of Commerce meeting, as we do every Tuesday during the 7 o'clock hour. We were just hearing updates from the county, from Placer County Supervisor District 5, Cindy Gustafson. Making the transition now to today's guest speaker. You know, I always have a guest speaker here at the Meddlers meeting. For today, it's going to be Mengel Dean, City of Auburn Director of Public Works. He's getting in the hot seat right now, and he will be speaking for the rest of the meeting. Let's go back there now.
First, I want to talk about some of the things that, that the Public Works Department's doing and kind of with how the city's approaching certain things, and then we'll all talk about the thing that you all want to talk about. I don't know what that might be, but.
I do.
So Public Works Department, first of all, thank you. I just want to say thanks to Sean Rebane. He's, I work at his pleasure, and some of the conversations that we've had since his tenure at the city has been about addressing the low-hanging fruit. Let's fix the things that are going to cost the taxpayer money in the long term. So if we fix it now, we'll save money and we'll be able to do more in the future. And the biggest thing I can say that he's been a big supporter of is planning for the things that we're going to do, as opposed to being reactionary. Let's just make sure that we have a plan in place so we get things done on our own timing. Because when you do things on your own timing, tends to cost you a lot less as opposed to having to do it in emergency situations. That being said, some of the bigger things that we're currently working on through the city, you guys all may have heard him speak about the Aeolia project. The Aeolia water and sewer project is everyone in the room knows where Aeolia is at, but that community is probably one of the oldest ones in Auburn. And the infrastructure underground there, not just the sewer system, is probably about 100 years old. And a lot of it has been private for a very long time and owned privately by those folks out there. And let's just say when they put these things in the late 1800s, they didn't necessarily think about growth into the future. So a lot of it is on private property with trees growing through, things that are necessary for people to sustain their daily activities. So last year, we got together with the residents, put together a plan for how we're going to address this. And since then, we've started that work. We've moved the sewer line into the roadway. We haven't reconnected the homes yet because the work continues right now. But it's modern materials. It's something that's going to be serviceable. It's something that's going to save the tax base a lot of money long-term, and probably the most important thing about it is going to help to keep the city compliant. Because the last thing you want to do is have raw sewage spilling into the roadway and getting into the water system, because that has long-term effects for not just the residents of Auburn, but everyone local. So, like I said, that's in ground right now. The water line is scheduled to begin as part of that project in the next week or two. We want to make sure that once the sewer's in, all the connections are made and all the tests can be made to make sure that everything is functioning properly. And then you put in the water line at last, because you don't want your drinking water to be contaminated with anything else. We do have the mandatory 5-foot separation in most areas, and I'd say about 3 small locations we were unable to meet that, but the State Water Board gave us some things how to address that, encasing, you know, the water line to meet that minimum separation. So everything is going swimmingly so far. We anticipated hitting a lot more rock than we did, given Auburn, but things are moving along. That being said, from the transit side of the house, the city requested some low carbon transit operational funds, about the tone of $162,000. And I've been talking with the city manager about how we're going to utilize those funds for our transit program. So right now it's about $5 to ride our on-demand transit program. We're looking to reduce that about half to $2.50, take you anywhere in the city that you'd like to go to, right? And those low carbon transit operational funds, low carbon transit operation program funds will help to offset that. We think that'll last about 3 to 4 years, and then hopefully we can apply for some additional funds to keep those costs low for the rest of the community. So that's something we're working on. That being said, you know, we're still doing our daily operations. We've got a sewer lining project going on throughout the rest of the city. That's probably going to wrap up in the next month. That was a $900,000 project, and goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning. The reason for that project is to help keep things sustained for a longer period of time. It's easy to go out and replace a line if it's broken, right? But the reality is that it costs 3 times more than it does to go in and fix a line that might be marginally compromised. And now you can go in and line it and protect it for another 30, 40 years, so that you don't have to spend all that additional monies to tear up a roadway, repave a roadway, address what other things come up along the way. So lining it is always the most cost-effective way to approach it. Yeah, like I said, lots of other things going on, and probably the one thing that everyone in this room wants to talk about is the Caltrans roundabout. I'll say that's been a challenge project. It has certainly been a challenge project, but we're hopeful that we finally meet the final resolution. We've waited. I don't want this to sound bad. Union Pacific is a great partner to the city and the county as a whole. But sometimes when people are offside, they don't necessarily understand how things affect the community. And so taking 18 months to respond to an encroachment permit makes things a little bit more challenging, because the community thinks the city's not doing what we're supposed to be doing. And the city is getting on Caltrans, hey, come on, we got to get going on this thing. Caltrans is doing the same thing with Union Pacific, but unfortunately, the reality is that particular infrastructure, that roadway intersection, has a lot going on, a lot more than you guys probably are aware of. There's a Kinder Morgan gas line that runs through that intersection. For all intents and purposes, that's a high pressure, I don't want to say bomb, but I mean, it's like you have a high pressure gas line going through that intersection. You have PG&E infrastructure, you have PCWA infrastructure. The city is upgrading our infrastructure, our sewer lines, and we're also trying to make it so that the rest of Auburn that heads towards Aeolian from that intersection has the ability to now connect to that, because the stuff up Lincoln Way on that side is aged out as well too. So we're trying to protect ourselves for the future. So there was a lot going on, but the good news is I actually think they're out there this morning working. I had a conversation with the folks from Caltrans, and so today's the day. We're supposed to have the Union Pacific inspector on site, Kinder Morgan inspector on site, city staff will be out there, folks from Caltrans will be out there, and their contractor Limon will also be out there. So finally, we've got all the ducks in the row, and everyone is still hopeful that this project is going to be wrapped up by the end of the year. I'm a little bit more skeptical. We got a little bit. We got some early rain, and it looks like it's There's some in the forecast for the next couple of weeks. So we'll see. But I mean, if it's not early, if it's not late at the end of this year, it'll be early next year. So I think most of the in-ground infrastructure will be wrapped up in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be able to start putting in the major portion of it. Ray.
The original contractor was he brought back on this, or was there a lot of issues with his scheduling and cost? The monies that's.
I'll say this, and this is Caltrans contractor, so the city doesn't necessarily have a lot of dealing with them. But everything I've known about the work that they've done out there has been really excellent. They have been super easy to work with. Generally, when a contractor has to take this type of delay, there's liquidated damages and things like that have to be paid because they have to have their staff in other places and they have to make sure that they have the work going so that they can pay those folks. These folks haven't asked for anything extra in addition. They've been pretty understanding, recognizing that sometimes it's a little challenge when you have 5 agencies in one area and you're trying to make everything. So they're back. To answer your question, it's the same contractor, but they're doing good work. So.
I love roundabouts. I travel a lot, and in other parts of the world, they go beautiful. But the Highway 49 business meeting a couple of months ago, we had a spokesman for Caltrans, and the issue was the Lone Star one.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about the 49 one division of whatever happened. But Don Robinson, Sand and Gravel, Paul's Towing, and other agencies said, what are you gonna do with people hauling boats? How are they gonna get around this roundabout in Lone Star? Why are you making it so small?
16 minutes to the top of the hour, 7:44 a.m. Hey, we're going to take a break right now. We're listening to the Auburn Meddlers meeting to show some love to our advertisers. We're hearing from City Director Mangle Dean. We'll be back with more right after this.
Looking for style, savings, and something for everyone? Come to Auburn's department store, McCullough's. From fashion to furniture, beauty to bedding. Find it all under one roof with plenty of parking. And right now, save up to 50% store-wide during McCullough's summer kickoff sale. Family owned and operated. So save time, gas, and money by shopping McCullough's department store in the Auburn Town Center, right off of Elm.
With Amish furniture, your choices are endless. From styles and sizes to wood types and stain colors, Amish lets you customize your furniture to your taste. Whether you are looking for the perfect bedroom, dining room, office desk, bookcase, coffee and end table, or TV console, our trained consultants will help you design what you have been dreaming of. And right now, all of our Amish furniture is on sale. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings today and tell them Brooklyn Nova and Orion sent you.
7:46 a.m. We're going to head back now to the Auburn Meddlers meeting where we're hearing from today's guest speaker, Mangle Dean, City of Auburn Director of Public Works, talking about the roundabouts that are going in, meant to be high-speed roundabouts, saying, wait, we need to get all the infrastructure in there, answering questions from the audience.
But I would give it a chance. Okay. I think there's hope for it.
And again, on the city lines.
I have a question from Barbara online. I think it refers to the Lincoln Way. Don't you normally get easements before you start the project?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's a great question, right? So when we initially started this project, we were working under one, and I believe she meant encroachment. We were working under one encroachment permit. Because it was a Caltrans project, what we were told is that only one permit is required. And since they were running the project, their permit's required. At the inception of the project, we then were told, hey, everybody that has any infrastructure within that Lamone's going to be touching needs to get their permits, an encroachment permit as well. City said, sure. Within 2 days, we had that permit application in place because it does take some time for us to write the things out and get the engineering aspects onto that document. Within 2 days, we got it out to them. And I think that was February 24th, 2024, actually. We are here today because we got our permit last month. So should the encroachment permit be had at inception? Yeah, probably, but we were working under a different set of rules. And even with the last, when the city received our encroachment permit, there has been since some changes. Oh, we need to get your work plan approved. And the first thought was, well, why wouldn't you tell us this while we were getting the encroachment permit? Granted, it only took an additional couple of weeks, but it's one of those things where it's like, if you're in Omaha, you don't understand what's going on in Auburn, and you don't understand how it's affecting the folks in this room and the people at this table. But the process is the process. We're not gonna cut corners and we're gonna get it done right.
Question on the effect of a roundabout is to slow traffic or ease congestion at intersections? What's the concept of a roundabout?
So there's several.
And that leads me to, back to Cindy, we've asked this question before. Highway 49 is 65 miles an hour. Now you're gonna slow people down at these roundabouts. Why not slow the speed limit to 55 or adjust the speed limit at the same time? We don't have that problem over here on Lincoln Way.
Right.
Speed is not an issue. But is that the effect of a roundabout, is to ease the traffic flow, or what is the effect of a roundabout?
So there's several different types of roundabout design. Keep that in mind. So some are meant to calm traffic and slow it down, right? I'd say that's probably what the ones on Highway 49 are being designed for, right? But there's also roundabouts that are designed to keep traffic flowing. And that's what the roundabout coming out of the Borland Avenue exit is. You have to think, every time a truck is coming up that hill and he has to stop, come to a complete stop at that light, and then he has to start, the amount of noise that that truck makes and the amount of energy that it takes to get him out, it's ruining air quality at that intersection. It's making so much noise for the residents. Having that truck go slowly through that intersection reduces the noise that the residents would hear there. It reduces the greenhouse gases that are going to be emitted at that intersection, and it keeps traffic flowing, as opposed to having all these trucks lined up coming up the canyon. They're now free flowing, making less noise, less GHG.
The effect of this one is to smooth
the flow.
The flow of traffic.
Because that's a truck route coming between two counties.
Some are designed to slow traffic,
right,
and keep it moving.
And I know you mentioned, why don't you just reduce the speed? The width of that road on 49 coming down into Auburn, even if you reduce the speed by 10 miles an hour, people have habits that they've established. There's no slowing them down. I'd love to say that we all do the right thing at the right time, but I've been on that road where someone has passed me like I was standing still.
Sure.
So, sir.
Yeah, last week we heard the proposal to turn Auburn Folsom Road into 2 lanes instead of 4 lanes. What's the status of that?
Yeah, so let's step back a bit. No one is proposing to turn Auburn Folsom Road from.
It was a city council person.
Yeah, so there's conversations being had of how we can make Auburn more bike and pedestrian friendly. These are just conversations. We're putting together an active transportation plan that's going to mention some things. Here's what you could do. Council, the community still has an opportunity for input. I'll tell you right now, as a public works director for the city of Auburn, I would have a hard time telling folks, let's reduce Auburn Folsom to 2 lanes in both directions. There's just too many houses in South Auburn. There's just too many businesses that are in the north of it to do that. Is there an effective way to add bike lanes to that without having to do that? Absolutely, and we'll explore those. I think the active transportation plan is a very preliminary plan to identify some areas where things can be done. And I think that's what we have to keep in mind. We have to be the change that we want to see for the community, right? Like, change is inevitable. The time goes on, change is inevitable. Are there more bikers on the road? Absolutely. Should we provide them a way for them to get around the city just as we do in our cars? Absolutely. Is reducing Auburn Folsom to 2 lanes the way to do it? Probably not. But do they have to mention it? Yeah, because it is an option, but it's very unlikely that would happen. That's all I'm saying.
And if we were going to do that, there's a process. We have to do a traffic study to show what if we go from 4 lanes to 2, what does it do to traffic backing up? What does it do to greenhouse? All that stuff, right? So the ATP is a preliminary plan to look at alternative forms of transportation, but that doesn't mean that something's happening tomorrow, next month, whatever.
Right.
It's a process to get there.
Thank you.
Sean said. Yes, ma'am.
So we have a parade in 67 days. If you know your crystal ball, are we going to be able to get on to Orland from the roundabout?
From Lincoln.
So if I were a planning person, I would say, don't plan for that. Right? Let's be realistic about what, well, I'm forever an optimist, but I also want to be realistic. I don't want you to have to deviate from a plan at the very last minute because something didn't work out, right? We've had so many hiccups to this thing along the way. Think worst case scenario.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are the sewer replacement lines just an ongoing annual thing, providing the funding is available and just kind of moving from neighborhood to neighborhood?
So, yes and no. So the answer to that is we collect funds on an annual basis to make sure that we're keeping our sewer infrastructure top tier. And we do a really, really, really good job of that. Right now, what we're addressing is all the hotspots. Again, with John's guidance, what we've said is, here are the known issues. Let's fix those issues. So there might be some years where we do sewer line replacement because things break, trees grow. We live in Auburn where there's trees everywhere and they damage sewer line. So we're constantly looking at the hotspots and addressing those. But the reality is that there's also new infrastructure being put in place on an annual basis as the community grows, as need expands. So we address not just the sewer lines, we address our lift stations, our wastewater treatment plants. So yes, we have an annual project and we anticipate that we'll probably have one per year for the next 10 years. But whether it's being preemptive or an emergency repair, it depends.
It's important. One of the main things for doing that too is we have a pretty significant, it's called I&I, inflow and infiltration. So stormwater that gets into the sewer line that then goes to the plant. And then so you're treating stormwater rather than effluent, right? Rather than sewage.
That's part of the ongoing repair.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
Good question.
it's expensive.
Back in the day when, the right of ways were put in place to run a main line all the way out to Lincoln. Is that ever part of the discussion again where we would abandon our plant? I know our plant's gone through a lot of restoration, rehabilitation, and meets state standards. So that extension line down all the way to Lincoln, is that easement still in place?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Ray. And the city bought into capacity to send our stuff down to Lincoln should we need to. But the reality is that Auburn loves its independence. So we ensure that we keep our plant top tier. In fact, you may not know this about me, but our wastewater treatment plant is one of my favorite places within the city. Like I'm always happy to show it off because for a small plant and what it does for this community and its ability to allow the community to expand, it's amazing what such a small city has as part of its infrastructure.
Maybe next year you could have the community awards dinner at the plant.
I mean, it's as delicious as that sounds, I'd recommend against it.
The biggest thing about not doing that, going down to Lincoln, is we can't control our own destiny on what we're going to do as a city, right? How we're going to grow. If we are using another city's plant, we don't have the ability to control what we're doing. Right. Whereas now we do. And so we've put a lot of money into that plant to make sure that it will accommodate whatever growth we need to have. It's more than adequate for anything that we want to do.
How many people in this room have actually been to that plant? It's quite the sight. It's something interesting worth seeing, and I'm happy to share it with anyone if you ever want to see it. So yes, sir.
What's the city's crack sealing program to prevent it from going to alligatoring when you've lost the pavement?
What's up? Let me hear that question again.
Well, I noticed just one is Nevada Street beyond Mount Vernon. The crack starts showing up, and then in a couple of years you've got alligators. That means it's
right.
What's the city's position on crack sealing?
We do it, and quite extensively. The Streets and Roads Department, the Public Works Department, it's 7 guys and gals for 7.5 square miles. So we don't always see everything. So if you see something that you think is going to become a bigger issue, we encourage you to share it with us, right? Crack sealing is a big part of our rehabilitation program, big part of it. We try to make sure things don't get to that. Through other methods, with type 2, type 3 slurry, put some nutrients back into the aggregate before it gets to that level, but sometimes it does, right? And so
what's the material you use for your crack sealing?
It's a rubberized material.
Crack coat?
Yeah. So the reality is that pavement restoration and pavement upkeep is an interesting thing because it's so weather dependent. Like if there's water infiltration in any location and you don't see it, those cracks develop, right? So a crack in a road doesn't necessarily also mean a failed road. It just means it might be time for us to start looking at some other kind of restoration process. So again, if you see stuff like that, let us know. And we know that there's areas where there's heavy cracking, and if you see us not doing anything, it's probably because it's already programmed for replacement, and we just haven't gotten to it yet.
Thanks.
Of course.
Okay, any last questions for Menjel? Okay.
There any, how many
Almost.
how many employees are out there at the Public Works Department, and do you anticipate adding any more employees out there to help carry the load?
Let's just say this. We have 8 folks, streets and roads ready. We have 6 folks in transit. We have 4 individuals here at City Hall in Public Works Engineering. And then we have a couple of facilities here and there. We don't have very many people.
The guys out there at the plant, they're the ones where the rubber meets the road. They're the guys that are out there doing the physical stuff. The rest are kind of ancillary planning, preparing for what they're going to do.
So we like to think of ourselves as the Marines of the city because we're small but mighty, right? Like we're not a big department where we get a lot done with the people we've got. Would I love to have more folks in the Public Works Department? Absolutely. Give me as many bodies as you possibly can. But I have to be realistic about where we are financially, right? So I'll say this, we are able to do what we're doing right now with the folks we've got. If more is asked of us, we'll probably ask for more bodies.
I compliment the guys out there. I see them out doing the work, so I want to believe they're hardworking.
They are, and I could not be more proud to represent them. Like I say, I get to sit here and talk about this stuff, but to your point, they're the ones doing it, right?
Okay, well, it is 8 o'clock, so Menjel, thank you for being here.
And it is, as you heard from the Chamber of Commerce meeting there, it is right smack dab at the top of the hour. It is 8 o'clock. We were hearing from Menjel Dean, City of Auburn Director of Public Works, talking about answering basically a great Q&A there, where folks I know have a lot of questions about the roundabout that's going on, not only here in Borland, but also on Highway 49 further on down the road. And why don't we just change the speed limit, go slower? And I loved Menjel's answer, where it's just like, yeah, I mean, you could lower the speed limit by 10 miles an hour, but also people just are used to going a certain speed. And so basically going through these traffic circles, I actually am a huge, I don't know about you, I am a huge fan of these traffic circles. Like I would rather just keep, even if it slows me down, I would rather, I don't know if it's just a mental thing where we just like to keep moving. You know, when you're in traffic and you're always looking for the lane that's moving, if there's a lane that stops, like, oh, if I shift over to the right, that lane's moving, and then you move to that lane and it stops and the lane that you were just in starts moving right. I would just rather a constant flow of traffic. I don't know about you. So I'm okay with a traffic circle, and people just learn how to use a traffic. It's not that hard. You just go in there, you're going around, go to your spot and then get out. And I feel like they're way more efficient than just coming to a complete stop, waiting. Wait, do you go? Do I go? Do you, at a 4-way stop, no, you go first. No, you go first. All right. Yeah, I know it's the person on the right, but we always kind of try and figure out and be nice and who's going to go. Let's just all keep moving in a orderly fashion as best we can. I think traffic. Anyway, that's my opinion. Not that anybody's asking, but really interesting to hear all of the work that's going on. And who knew our wastewater treatment plant was a class above here in Auburn to help take care of it and be independent for the city so that we can grow. I love learning stuff here. Always learn something new at the Meddlers meeting. Hey, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with hour number 8 here. Not hour 8, but the 8 o'clock hour. There we go. Right after this.
I can't stay awake any longer, George.
It'll be on right after the Night Owl movie.
It's 4:30 in the morning.
It's a fantastic 10-second commercial vehicle, Helen, and I'm standing right there pointing to the car. Gramps!
Well, what, you on yet, Georgie?
Not yet, but you're falling asleep.
What's this on my forehead?
Cheese dip, Gramps.
You fell asleep in the cheese dip.
Must have fallen asleep with the cheese dip.
Oh, George, why does your TV commercial have to be on so late?
Our ad budget could only afford fringe time, but that's okay because a lot of people are up at Gramps!
I'm up. Are you on the TV?
No, but soon.
Well, I'm all set right here next to the TV. I wouldn't miss you for...
If your advertising isn't reaching the people you want, radio definitely will. With its many different formats, radio reaches every lifestyle. So you can target more messages to exactly who you want, when you want, at a price you can still afford.
Okay, Helen, here it comes.
Oh, Gramps, it's George! It's George!
Oh, I'll get it. Let me turn off the TV first. Hello, George. Must have hung up.
Oh, brother.
Want to wake up your advertising? Try radio. It's right on the button. A message from the Radio Advertising Bureau.
Wake up, it's Chris in the morning light on KAHI. Your day starts right. Foothill news and a smile or two with a dad joke, fresh and the weather too. He's the voice of the hills, keeping it real. Local talk with hometown feel. So grab your coffee.
Oh, let's get some coffee. Oh yeah, here we go.
It's Chris in the morning with your daily news.
And good Tuesday morning to you. It is September 30th, and it is now 3 minutes past the top of the hour, 8:03 a.m. Chris Quant here with you, back again, holding it down. A beautiful, gorgeous, fantastic, spacious, and still, yes, air-conditioned Studio A, KAHI Studios, peering through the Venetian blinds at downtown Auburn. Well, gang, it's cloudy out there. It looks like we're going to have some rain for the next couple of days. I would grab your umbrella, maybe pack that as you're heading out, just in case you get caught out in the rainstorm. It was raining hard enough last night. It actually woke me up. I was like, what in the world is that sound? It was rain coming down. So we'll check in with meteorologist Tim Root here in just a little bit. Don't take my word for it. Let's go to the subject matter expert here in just a little bit. But as we're getting started with our Tuesday today, I hope you're having a fantastic day. If today is your birthday, well, my goodness gracious, happy stinking birthday to you. I hope you have a fantastic day. If you're born today, well, you share it. Today's chewing gum day, probably not coincidentally, because today is William Wrigley Jr.'s birthday, born on this day in 1861. American businessman founded the Wrigley Company. Also, Hans Geiger, German physicist and academic, born on this day in 1882. Angie Dickinson, American actress, 1931. Johnny Mathis, yeah, that Johnny Mathis, born on this day in 1935. Fran Drescher, oh, the nanny. Ow, you'd recognize her voice. Born on this day in 1957. Jenna Elfman, American actress, born on this day in 1971. So happy birthday to them, and happy birthday to you if today is your birthday. Hey, if you're a history nerd, a history buff, on this day in 1452, yeah, going way back in the day, Johann Gutenberg published his first edition of the Bible. It was completed, it took a while back then, completed in 1456. Other things today, in 1927, Babe Ruth hit his 60th home run of the season, a record that stood until 1961. So some fun facts for you happening today. And hey, thanks to Ray. Ray, thanks for emailing in, giving me the heads up about the Placer High School Homecoming Parade is going to be happening tomorrow, Wednesday. That's going to be at 5 p.m. The parade will start on Cherry Avenue and Lincoln Way, and it's going to be traveling to Lefevre Stadium at Placer High School. Community members are invited to attend the free event to celebrate the school spirit. So again, we've got the Placer High School Homecoming Parade happening tomorrow. That's going to be Wednesday, October 1st at 5 p.m. I'm assuming the big homecoming game will be this Friday Night Lights there. So if you have a chance to, one, go and check out the homecoming parade, again, that's going to be tomorrow at 5 p.m. The community is invited. It's a free event to go and celebrate and help celebrate school spirit out there. It's going to be at 5 p.m. Again, the parade route starts at Cherry Avenue and Lincoln Way, and it'll end at the Placer High School Stadium there, Lefevre Stadium at Placer High School. Cost absolutely free. Go out and sponsor the whole local high school. Just get into you remember what it was. You remember going to the pep rallies. You remember a homecoming, the school spirit going up there. Everybody's getting jazzed. Everybody's psyched out of their minds because it's the homecoming game. Having all that going on. Yeah, go out and feel young again. and get some of that youthful energy happening again tomorrow, October 1st, 5 p.m. Parade route starts at Cherry Avenue and Lincoln and ends at Placer High School at Lefevre Stadium there. Also, hey, reminder, downtown Colfax this Saturday, October 4th, bands you love, brews you'll crave. It's Pints and Grooves. Colfax going for that community grant that basically is going to, for the next 3 years, help provide having local musicians and touring musicians come in and perform. So if you like have free concerts there that you can go out and enjoy music. This is going to be another test run for that. Downtown Colfax on Saturday, October 4th. That's going to be from 4 to 8 p.m. So come down and check it out, downtown Colfax. Producer Shane is going to be there in all of his glory. We'll probably have one of his fantastic shirt of the days on, his SOTDs there. It's going to be running sound from 4 to 8 p.m. So if you're up in Colfax there, come on out and check it out and say hello to producer Shane. Give him a high five or a fist bump or just wave from across the way there. And maybe you bring him a glass of water or something if he looks parched, if he's kind of thirsty. Being a sound guy, that's a tough job. Everybody's always wanting your attention, and you're the one that you don't want everybody looking back at you. You want everybody looking forward to. So producer Shane doing the hard work out there this Saturday up in Colfax, October 4th from 4 to 8 p.m. in downtown Colfax on historic Main Street. You can go and check that out. And again, the homecoming parade is tomorrow here in Auburn. It's going to be starting up on Cherry Avenue there, coming down to Lefevre Stadium there. So lots going on. We're not short of things to do here in our area. And just remembering our conversation with Chris Delfino out there at Apple Hill, Delfino Farms out there, and so many other farms out there in Apple Hill. Chris was telling us that this is just a banner year for apples and all things that are going on there up at Apple Hill. It's been a really great growing season. So if you haven't had a chance to go up there, as we're heading into, my gosh, tomorrow is the first day of October. We are in prime fall, gang, and boy, it feels like fall weather out there right now. Make sure you're heading up to Apple Hill as well and get those apple cider donuts. Come on, let's go. If you stop by Delfino Farms there, the walking pies, that has been our family tradition for decades now, going up there and getting the walking pies. But so many great farms to visit up there. You just grab yourself a map, either online or when you get up there and wind your way around. One of our fun things we did was just kind of wind through the roads there and just get lost a little bit. And you'll discover farms that you've probably never been to that are just just great little inns back there that you're like, ooh, I should come back to that. Little bed and breakfast inns back there. That's a great drive. So make sure you're checking out Apple Hill this season as well. Hey, speaking of fall and weather and all like that, feeling very fall out there. Let's check in with meteorologist Tim Root to see how our weather is looking today. Timmy, how are we looking out there today?
Tuesday weather forecast is calling for a few spotty showers today and tonight. A weather front coming in, partly to mostly cloudy, right around 70 for the high. It'll be about 55 to 60 overnight, mostly cloudy, maybe a stray shower. A chance of a few more showers Wednesday, another weather front coming in, partly to mostly cloudy. The high in the mid to upper 60s will start to dry out later Thursday into Friday. This is meteorologist Tim Root from FM 104.5 and AM 950 KAHI.
Thank you, Tim. 10 minutes past the top of the hour, 8:10 a.m. Hey, just listening to the Meddlers meeting, that reminds me that Sean Rabe, Auburn City Manager, will be in here on Thursday. We like to talk to him the first Thursdays of the month, just see what's going on. Just get updates from him. If you have questions, maybe you're like, hey, when you're listening to the Meddlers meeting, like, I would love to find out more about this for the city. Maybe you heard something about that Mangoldine said about the Public Works. Obviously, Sean is pretty involved in that. If you've got questions for Sean, send them in. He's going to be here on Thursday. You can send them in live at KAHI.com, LIVE at KAHI.com, or call me 530-885-3565. Also, samesies with Placer County Supervisor Cindy Gustafson. You can send those in as well. If you've got questions for her, we'll have her on this coming Monday here. We like to have her in at the beginning of the month as well, just for updates and any questions that you might have, trying to make things accessible here. Keep things local, because really our lives are lived on the local level days in and days out. And so if we have questions for the city, for the county, want to give you a space to ask those questions. So again, live at KAHI.com, LIVE at KAHI.com, or call me 530-885-3565. Speaking of all that, daily dad jokes coming up this hour, since we couldn't do it in the 7 o'clock hour like we normally do. So go ahead and send those in now. If you want Linda, I see them in the inbox there. We'll get to those. We've got some great great ones there. Those are coming up. And what in your bathroom do you need to replace? Let me just say, this is from Better Homes and Garden. Apparently, you should give a lot more attention to your hairbrush than you probably are. That's all coming up. Stay tuned. Back with more right after this.
Little River Inn on the beautiful Mendocino coast invites you to plan your fall or winter getaway now. Get away from the hustle and bustle of the city and make your memories with a day filled with wide open spaces, ocean views, and clean air, or a jacuzzi tub, fireplace, and an evening of snuggling with your sweetie. Little River Inn's restaurant offers a full bar and romantic outdoor garden dining with stunning scenery in the daytime and heat and twinkle lights for the crisp Mendocino evenings. The Little River Inn offers couples, families, as well as pet-friendly getaway packages. Stroll the shops in the quaint Mendocino Village just a couple of miles north, or hike the trails of the breathtaking Van Dam State Park just a 5-minute walk from the hotel. Schedule a massage or acupuncture appointment, or spend the day at Little River Inn's on-site golf course. Book your getaway today at littleriverinn.com or by calling the Little River Inn at 1-888-INNLOVE. That's 1-888-IN-LOVE.
13 minutes past the top of the hour, 8:13 a.m. All right, before we went to the break there, again, reminder, send in your dad jokes now if you got them. We've got those coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Also, got a little bit of trivia here as well, and a reminder for questions for the city. We're going to have Sean Rebay in here a little bit later this week, so on Thursday, so send those in now. Hey, should you be paying attention to your hairbrush way more than you actually are? You might need to be doing that. Also, some trivia. I want you to start thinking on this right now. We've got sports ball coming up a little bit later. Bad Bunny was announced as the headline performer at the halftime show of next year's Super Bowl. A lot of people thinking it was going to be Taylor Swift, but no Taylor Swift, although her new album is coming out this Friday. Bad Bunny is going to be the next year's Super Bowl halftime performer, but it won't be the first time he's appeared at the event. The Puerto Rican rapper made a cameo in 2020 when the halftime show was headlined by which two women? So think about that one as we've got our trivia for today. Just get our brains working here a little bit in the morning. We do our physical exercises. How about those mental exercises as well? But hey, I was reading an article in Better Homes and Garden today, and it wasn't clickbait. Yeah, it was clickbait. But 10 everyday bathroom items you should clean or throw out ASAP. And I'll just say that I read this before I did my my morning routine this morning. So did it oog me out just a little bit and thinking, well, I don't have time to do this, but maybe I should be paying more attention to number one on this list was hairbrushes and combs. I mean, do you pay attention to your hairbrush? Hairbrush, I'm like, yeah, it's in my bathroom drawer there. I pull it out. I comb my hair. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a guy and I don't have a whole lot of hair to brush. I have enough to brush. Thank goodness that I at least need a comb every day. But your hairbrushes, this is, again, an article from Better Homes and Garden. Your hairbrush harbors a lot more than just hair. It also holds onto dust, dirt, oils, hair products. Speaking of a hairball there, just swallowed one there. And even dust mites, not the kind of buildup you want on your clean hair. Yeah, I think we all kind of acknowledge that we live with that stuff, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think about it that much. But here's what the recommendation is. Are you ready to invest this type of time, or do you already invest this type of time in your hairbrush? Here's what they recommend. Pull excess hair out of your brushes daily. And get this, shampoo your hairbrush at least once a month. So we got to shampoo the hairbrush. Okay, well, to do that, add a few drops of shampoo to warm water, swirl the mixture until the suds form, submerge the bristles in the water. So basically it just suds up the water there. Submerge the bristles in the water, use a clean toothbrush. Well, I gotta get a brand new toothbrush for this to scrub near the base of the bristles. Rinse with fresh water and leave your hairbrush out to dry, bristles side down, on a clean towel overnight. You can use the same method for cleaning combs as well. Okay, now I get it. Combs, like you remember in the barber shop, you go in there and they've got them in that little dunk tank thing for combs, and they'll pull it out. Like, I appreciate that because you're probably using that on multiple people. Let's make sure those things are sanitized. But I never even thought about that with my own brush, that there's all that stuff that's on there. Now I got to think about cleaning out my hairbrush there. Also, hey, loofahs. Do you use those in the bathroom there, in the shower? Well, you might want to replace that more than you have. Again, I'm guilty here. I've got one. I can't remember the last time I replaced it. Most experts recommend you permanently remove loofahs from your bathroom routine, but replacing natural sponges once every 3 to 4 weeks and the plastic variety every 2 months is a good alternative. To keep them and yourself as clean and bacteria-free as possible, dry them between uses. Don't use them right after you shave, and clean them weekly by soaking in a diluted bleach solution for 5 minutes before rinsing thoroughly. Okay, yeah, I haven't. Here's my thought. I'm like, I'm in the shower. Aren't I getting clean? Isn't everything eventually clean in the shower? I'm putting soap on this darn thing. And I am in hot water, thank God. Isn't it just naturally getting clean there? You think like, well, isn't it clean because it's in the shower? Well, maybe not. And hey, by the way, we all, nobody likes to do it, but if you get bathroom duty and you got to clean the toilet there, most of us clean the toilet bowl regularly, as we should, make that part of the routine. But do you clean the handle? Is that part of your toilet cleaning routine? Because you're like, well, no, I wash my hands after that. Well, yeah, no, but think about cleaning the handle. Give it a good swipe and a wipe every time you're cleaning your toilet bowl there. That's coming in at number 5 there. Makeup brushes, make sure you're cleaning those. Wash makeup brushes with unscented bar soap, baby soap, or a dedicated brush cleanser. Once they're dry, store the brushes away from splashes in the cabinet or drawer to keep them clean as long as possible. And also, here's the thing. Actually, I need to go home and do this. Your bathroom exhaust fan. Surfaces are an obvious choice for daily or weekly bathroom cleaning. Okay, who's cleaning their bathroom daily? Nobody's cleaning their bathroom daily. But what about your ceiling? The bathroom exhaust fans remove moisture from the air, making them a prime target for mold and mildew growth, as well as dust buildup. Yeah, that is true. Dust buildup is definitely a thing there. So just all in all, just give your bathroom a good once overall. And by the way, here's a reminder for expired medication. Go through there and just make sure that your medication is up to date. Maybe you've got some headache medicine in there, or other medication that might have been expired. Typically, a shelf life is 24 to 36 months. After that, it starts losing potency, so there's no reason to hold on to it. Check the expiration date on all your medications yearly to get rid of them if you see that they've gone bad. Be sure to read the labels there. And then finally, at the bottom of the list here, razor blades. Yeah, if you're using your disposable razor, obvious signs of rust and wear. I don't know. I have that like Dollar Shave Club where I get new razors shipped to me. They say use it for like a week or two. That I do change on a regular basis, so I am not worried at all. Who has a rusty razor? Oh my gosh, people do not shave with rusty razor blades. My gosh, let's do us all a favor and not do that. But yeah, who knew? Out of all of this, your hairbrush could probably use some love. So make sure you've got a clean hairbrush there if you want to avoid all of the dust and the oils and the mites and all that. Now, some people are on the side of like, well, no, the oils, the natural oils, don't ruin that, and they help us build up we immunities and whatnot. And I know that there's a happy medium in there somewhere. Maybe you're not cleaning your bathroom every day, but this might be a reminder. Maybe just take a look at some extra surfaces in your bathroom. All right, we've got your daily dad jokes coming up. A lot more coming up. This new AI actress that actual human talent agents are trying to assign. How do you sign an AI actress? I'm not exactly sure how to do that. We'll talk about that. Again, you can send your dad jokes in now if you want, and we'll answer our trivia question here coming up in just a little bit.
Hey there, KAHI listeners. Producer Adam here to remind you that Chris in the Morning really is the best way to start your day. And he's not paying me to say this at all. Wink. And yes, he really is holding it down in beautiful Studio A in the KAHI Worldwide Headquarters Studios, Monday through Fridays, 6 to 9 a.m. Chris in the Morning here on FM 104.5, AM 950, and streaming all over the world at KAHI.com. Now, where is that $3 gift card he said he'd leave me for saying nice things about him? Man, that guy's a cheapskate.
Be sure to listen to the Garden Goddesses, Saturday mornings at 8, right here on the Voice of the Foothills.
And this is Cindy from the Garden Goddesses. Thanks for being a loyal listener, and please join us every Saturday morning from 8 to 9 on KAHI, the Voice of the Foothills, and we will teach you all we know about gardening.
I've learned so much myself, and I've only been here a few months. You can learn so much on their show. It is the ultimate gardening show.
Absolutely. So join us every Saturday morning from 8 to 9.
Right here on the Voice of the Foothills.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Presley. My love for animals began when I was 5 years old and found a puppy wandering alone. Growing up in a military family, pets weren't allowed, but I couldn't turn him away, and my family let me adopt him. That moment sparked a lifelong commitment to speak up for animals who can't speak for themselves. 50 plus years ago, Elvis and I supported American Humane Society because animals deserve our voice. And now, more than ever, they still do. American Humane Society saves lives and strengthens the bond between humans and animals. Each year, millions of animals end up in shelters, waiting for someone to give them a second chance. Your compassion can change a life. Please visit AmericanHumane.org to learn more. Thank you.
23 minutes past the top of the hour, 8:23 a.m. Wow, Lisa Marie Presley. Wow, that's fantastic. Wait, no, that was Priscilla, not Lisa Marie. That was the daughter. Priscilla Presley there. Just watched a really interesting documentary on Elvis on Netflix there. If you've got Netflix, search Elvis there. It's actually pretty darn interesting. All right, we've had, speaking of performing and all of that, good things, our trivia today, our halftime show trivia. Bad Bunny was announced as the headline performer at the halftime show of next year's Super Bowl, but it won't be the first time he's appeared at the event. The Puerto Rican rapper made a cameo in 2020 when the halftime show was headlined by which two women? Did you have a chance to think about that? I was thinking it was, I thought it was Beyonce. I thought it was Queen Bee. No, and I couldn't think of who else that might have been. No, actually it was Shakira and Jennifer Lopez, all the way back in 2020. My gosh, 5 years ago. That's a long time ago. Speaking of the entertainment industry here, from the Morning Brew, this AI actress is getting calls from agents. I don't even know how this works, gang, but this is pretty interesting to me. Talent agents are courting actress, using the air quotes there, actress Tilly Norwood, even though she can't summon tears by thinking of her ex in auditions because she's not a real person. Particle 6, the UK-based AI production company behind the uncannily human-looking AI performer, announced this week that it is in talks with talent agencies that want to represent Norwood. Okay, it doesn't go into the article here of like, okay, how does payment work? Like, does the studio, like the creators get paid for this work? And how do they, I don't know how all of this works exactly. It doesn't go into a whole lot of details on the whole pay structure here, but if you represent it, obviously if I guess a studio hires this actress as the agent, I guess it's maybe you're looking at where the ball's moving as a talent agent. You're like, well, if AI is going to be talent, I want to represent this AI talent. Over the weekend at the Zurich Film Festival, Particle 6 CEO revealed that despite initial skepticism, studios are quietly embracing AI talent. She has previously said that she envisions Norwood, this actress Norwood, as the next Scarlett Johansson or Natalie Portman. Curious to know what Scarlett Johansson and Natalie Portman think of that. Seems like job security might be threatened there. Norwood's human colleagues, probably to that point, are not thrilled. While digital actors who are not prone to dressing room tantrums could theoretically save studios money, Many folks who've sat in LA traffic en route to rehearsals aren't giving Norwood a 20-minute standing ovation. In the Heights star Melissa Barria called on actors to ditch agents who also work with AI talent. And I can see this is going to be heading probably more and more as a friction point. We remember it was the actors strike, what was it, last year before last, where there was a really big sticking point was studios using AI, whether that's replicating an actor's image or an actor's voice without their knowledge or without their consent, could be a big deal, and making sure that the humans get to work there. Actress Maria Wilson of Matilda fame said that Norwood is a composite of the faces of, quote, hundreds of living young women, unquote. Meanwhile, Whoopi Goldberg opined that AI actors currently can't replicate human performance. So, yeah, a lot going on there. Basically, there's pushback saying that AI, quote, isn't a replacement for people, unquote, but rather a new tool like animation, puppetry, or CGI that expands human creativity. I don't know. I don't know. I think there's. I get it for wanting to be more efficient, maybe wanting to save money a little bit more. But where do we draw the line? And because I think of at a certain point, if you think of the moral standpoint of it, like a human. And they can just as easily say, like, yeah, I'll do that. But oftentimes a human will say, and you've heard many stories about this, like saying, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, we can figure out a different way to say that. We can figure out a different way to do that. We're not going to green light that project because there are not enough people that think that that's a good idea, to actually go through and do it, directors, producers, actors, etc. But like if we start programming AI or just feed them the lines that you want, they'll say anything that you want. They'll feed any information that you want. That sounds like a bit of a gray area there. I'm kind of curious to what you think about that. 530-885-3565 or live@kahi.com. I know AI is pretty controversial. Like, yes, it can help us. It's going to advance us. It's here to stay. I think, I don't see it going away. So obviously we're going to have to navigate these new spaces. Hopefully, and I think you and I are both hoping on this, that as human beings, we will put in safeguards and rails and have some sort of thing where you just can't have it saying just anything you want it to say, and that's okay. And crossing moral boundaries is what I'm talking about, moral and ethical boundaries. But I guess we'll see how this all develops. We'll see how it keeps shaping up in the news here. But definitely something to think about. And as an agent, apparently they if that's where the money's going. Obviously, they have a business to model to keep up as well. So I guess we'll see how all of that goes. Lots going on, though. Hey, we're going to take a pause just for a little bit, and we'll be back with your daily dad jokes right after this.
Hey, y'all. Eli Winters here. I want to talk to you about something that's more important than ever, taking care of the wildlife around us. Our planet is home to some of the most amazing creatures you could ever imagine. From the biggest bears to the smallest birds and everything in between. But here's the truth. Many of these animals are in danger, habitats are disappearing, and we're losing species at a rate we've never seen before. If we want our kids and their kids to experience the magic of wildlife that we have today, it's on us to step it up and take action. You can make a difference. Learn more about wildlife conservation in your area and how you can help, whether it's supporting local wildlife refuges, reducing pollution, or simply taking a little time to appreciate the wild beauty around you. It all counts. This is Eli Winters. Let's make sure our wildlife is around for generations to come. Y'all take care of the earth and it'll take care of us. This message is courtesy of the United States Air Force.
30 minutes past the top of the hour, 8:30 a.m. All right, gang, it is that time. And hey, by the way, good morning to you, Lake of the Pines. Currently 59 degrees right now, looking for a high today of 68 degrees. Time for your daily dad jokes. Checking the inbox here. Yeah, I got a few here stacking up in the inbox. Got one from Evan. Evan wrote in, what do you call a line of rabbits walking backwards? What do you call a line of rabbits walking backwards? In the back there? Oh, yep, you got it. It's a receding hairline. That's a good one, Evan. I like that one. Let's see, we had a couple from Linda here. Linda said, what kind of shoes do frogs wear? Open-toed sandals. That's a good one, Linda. I like that. Double header from Linda here today. A back-to-back one. Did I tell you I got a pen that can write underwater? Yeah, it can write other things too. Fantastic, Linda. Thank you so much for sending those in. Those definitely gave me a chuckle today. I love it. I love some daily dad jokes here. How about this one? I saw a report on TV about a criminal who has been breaking into houses and stealing people's stamps and envelopes. They said the suspect is believed to be male. Producer Adam kind of paused on that rim shot there. Wasn't quite sure on that one. How about this one? Drinking caffeine seems to give me a cold. I always get a coffee. This would have been great yesterday for National Coffee Day. And those are your daily dad jokes for this Tuesday, September 30th. All right, let's go ahead and take a break from dad jokes and find out what our weather is looking like. For that, we're going to turn it over to meteorologist Tim Root. Timmy, take it away.
Tuesday weather forecast is calling for a few spotty showers today and tonight. A weather front coming in, partly to mostly cloudy, right around 70 for the high. It'll be about 55 to 60 overnight, mostly cloudy, maybe a stray shower. A chance of a few more showers Wednesday, another weather front coming in, partly to mostly cloudy. The high in the mid to upper 60s will start to dry out later Thursday into Friday. This is meteorologist Tim Root from FM 104.5 and AM 950 KAHI.
If you love live music and want to be up close and personal with the band, there's only one place to go, the Torch Club. This hotspot is the place to be with 2 shows a day, Wednesday to Sunday. Check out the upcoming shows at torchclub.net or just drop by 904 15th Street in Sacramento. The Torch Club. There's always something happening.
33 minutes past the top of the hour, 8:33 a.m. Gang, can you believe it? That's it for today. We're going to finish out the hour with JT in the morning and the O'Reilly Report. Hey, by the way, reminder, we've got Auburn City Manager Sean Rebay in later on this week. If you've got questions for him, anything about the city, go ahead and send those into live at KAHI.com, LIVEK at KAHI.com. Or if back in tomorrow, you can call 530-885-3565. He'll be in here on Thursday. Until we see each other again, as always, gang, remember to be kind, be honest, be yourself. And remember, you can't hate somebody if you're hugging them. Have a fantastic Tuesday. If today's your birthday, happy stinking birthday again to you. I hope you have a fantastic day. And I'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning.
Amen to that, Slowhand. Best record in years.
There's nothing you can say. There ain't be nothing you can do.
And I loved it. Best part of that album they put out after COVID and the lockdowns, and they realized how much of it was bovine excrement, was listening to my friends in classic rock radio, trying to figure out a way to program a classic rock radio station without Eric Clapton. Must be canceled. Damn. Broke that paradigm. My friend Chris in Virginia writes, Center for Countering Digital Hate just added climate skepticism. So the center, and these are the people that you Google or Instagram, or these folks will deplatform you if you use words that refer to anything on their list. This is where the algorithms come from. And it's the classic case of control the language. Control the definitions. Do we have the clip of the show from just after we returned from Concord, Massachusetts, and we watched that parade full of people saying, no tyrants then, no tyrants now, meeting Donald Trump. So I looked up tyrant in the dictionary, and I swear it was not defined as this when I was in high school, but Merriam-Webster says that a tyrant is somebody that stands in the way of fairness. Stands in the way of fairness. Is that a tyrant? Or is that what the modern American left wants you to define tyrant as? And what is fairness? See, again, you go back to definitions. Is it equality of opportunity or is it equity of outcome? That's a classic hit. We're here for equity, meaning we all want to turn out the same. And the idea that some public policy is an existential threat to your life, or somebody going to a different church than you. The narrative that's spinning out of Michigan is that this guy with a Trump sign on his barn and a Trump 2020 T-shirt. Now, this is the thing. I love the extrapolation. See, he's a MAGA guy. He might have been a disaffected MAGA after 2020. He might have said, "Nah, I'm lost." There were a lot of people after 2020, especially after January 6th. Maybe this guy was, somebody who had friends in D.C. on January 6th. Snapped his last good nerve over that. Still many holes in the Swiss cheese over it all. But herein lies the rub. He apparently ranted against Mormons. We have the clip from the city council candidate. I know, city council candidate. But he was going door to door in the neighborhood. And it came up to this guy's door.
Anti-Mormon. I mean, then it got into that, they have additional books in their Bible, the Mormon Bible. He goes, that's not Christian. They put people above Jesus. And then really what I walked away with, the statement I'll never forget was that Mormons are the Antichrist.
And you could say, I don't like that church, or people going to that church takes money away from my church. I mean, you can debase this any way. You can say that it's not my flavor of faith. But remember, this country, if you claim to be a conservative, then your overarching underpinning belief has to be to defend our society. And our society begins with the word there. It has to be outwardly aware. You have to be outwardly aware of other people. You have to know that your rights end where their rights begin. You are endowed by your creator. I am endowed by my creator, not someone else's creator. That's a theocracy, and that's what we tried to fight off, was to create a place where if you were a Quaker or a Jew or a Muslim, you would be welcome. Catholic, Christian, regardless. Good morning, you're on the air. First thing this morning with Joe Thomas. Who's this?
Climate denier here in Florida.
On that hate list. Got to put you on the hate list because you're going to kill us all. And climate denialism is one of the more interesting ones because these people are the master class in nutty because they will get all Greta Thunberg on you and act like you are actually threatening them with a weapon. If you simply say, hey, by the way, this science doesn't add up. Oh, my God, you're going to kill all the children. And this is, I think, one of the great sources of the kind of nutty, irresponsible rhetoric that people have been throwing around.
So that actually came from a house guest multiple times during the Look 3 festival. I had met Dina Whitman. She goes by D.M. Whitman. And
okay.
She was a really nice lady from just outside of Philadelphia, had studied basically ecology and that kind of thing. And then she started doing photography work and, started getting grants for these people, the Soros factor kind of people. And, I've kept up with her. She'll text me when she visits my friend in New York. You've gotten a copy of the Purple Heart story. The first person, so Kendall Methick, male, has been to my house many, many times as well. And I stayed at his place when I visited New York the last time. And it was just, it's incredible how, they try and pit us against one another. And the reality of it is that we all have, things, gifts and things that we can give to others.
Right. And we should be allowed to do it. But and the worst part of it is I feel like that guy who's in a bar brawl and we're brawling with each other while the guys who started the brawl are out behind the cash register emptying the till out. And while we're fighting on the streets, they're pillaging Fort Knox.
Well, if you take away I think the war sentiment or the war implement to the economy, that's a good place to start. And I think that they're going to do this shutdown thing here pretty soon.
Midnight tonight if they don't fix it.
Well, I think that it's great. I mean, I'm on the Ron Paul side.
Well, what about the rhetoric of you're going to take health care away, and the only people who are losing health care are non-citizens anyway. But they're out there. The TV ads are running. President Trump and the Republicans are taking away your health care. I mean, this is another one of those. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to fight somebody because my mom needs diabetes med or something like that.
Right. Well, and what we need to do is prepare for our own health, and you've been through some bumps and came out the other side.
Well,
so
depending on what part of the body I'm going through when I encounter those bumps, it's okay. But that's the issue, is we're being turned against each other for somebody else's political gain. And I don't know why we allow ourselves to do it. What do we gain from being this hateful to each other? What does a Christian gain by shooting and blowing up a Mormon church? I know there are people out there that suborn that rhetoric. They're as dangerous as the people in the Islamic faith that say the infidels must be killed. We've got to stop doing this to each other, because we're gonna make the case, first and foremost, we're gonna make the case for actual tyranny, because somebody is going to ride in and say, okay, you can't have nice stuff anymore, and we're making this an authoritarian dictatorship because y'all can't have nice stuff because you're constantly at each other, shooting each other, stabbing each other, driving trucks into each other's churches over time.
Hi, I'm Mark Falter with the Financial Fitness Show. Have you been keeping up on the big, beautiful bill? If you are over the age of 60, everything you thought you knew about taxes and tax preparation has just done a big shift. So if you want to get more information on how the big, beautiful bill applies to you, I welcome you to call and ask for the Tax Reform Kit. It's got several things in it pertaining to your taxes. A booklet titled Take Charge of Your Taxes, Tax Strategies, several things in it. 866-764-2635. Again, 866-764-2635. The Tax Reform Kit. Again, 866-764-2635. Again, 866-764-2635.